And hello and good afternoon, teachers, and welcome to our Saturday stream. Okay, so magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat who are here, who are now listening, no, and of course, no, joining us here live in our session for today. Okay, but before we start, teachers, no, bago po tayo magsimula sa ating program for today, sa ating learning session for today, may I just invite everyone to please, okay, share our link. Okay, para po mas madami tayong ma-invite na mga educators, no? Kasi medyo interesting yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon, no? Talagang medyo lang, no? Hindi masyado. Medyo interesting yung ating pag-uusapan for today. Okay? Kasi this will be more or less mga insights natin, ano? Okay, of course, no, both of us as your speakers and as well as your insights as well. Okay? So medyo pag-uusapan natin at medyo hahalughugin natin ulit, no, yung idea ng ng post-pandemic classroom and learners. Now, we'll talk about later on, no, exactly saan po dadalhin yan. Pero definitely something interesting, something really nice to talk about, no? Especially we're preparing for next school year already. Okay, so but before, and please, no, again, do share our link, okay? Sa mga bago pong mga viewers natin, kung di pa tayo nakasubscribe, please do subscribe into our channel, na para nanonotify po kayo ng mga live streams po natin. Plus, okay, may question kanina. Yes, this is a certified session. Kasi makakatanggap po kayo ng certificate after accomplishing the evaluation link. Hindi pala after, no? Okay, 5 to 7 days after you have accomplished the evaluation link. No? So usually, it takes me that much time no, to process your certificates. Now, Miss Sir Adun, no, Sir Franco is also a full-time employee, full-time teacher din po ako. Okay? So let me greet now the teachers in the chat who are here as early, no, as 12:11 p.m. Napakaaga. Okay? 12:11 p.m. Teacher Diane Gutierrez. Hello, Teacher Diane. Kim, I hope you're doing well. Okay? Last time naalala ko si Teacher Diane as, no, hindi ko lang nasagot sa chat, no, when we had a session on Wakelet, no, asking for my Wakelet um, link no or profile. Send ko sa inyo, Teach, mamaya, no? Although hindi pa masyadong develop yung aking Wakelet profile, no? Okay. Good afternoon, Teacher Arlene Alberto, Teacher Rose Malen Rosel. Yes, Teacher Rose Malen. Hello, hi. Okay. Go Avenger, Sir Alwin. Ayan, okay. Teacher Villaluz Renance, Teacher, ayan, si Dadabogs, nandito na naman, no? Okay. Teacher Annie Rose Rojas, Teacher Jesus Katangi, Professor Dr. Manavalan. Okay. And of course, Teacher Regina Rose Regidor, Teacher Red Reblando, Teacher Juliet Hikenya, Teacher Marvin Francisco, Teacher Maureen Diokno Tandog, Teacher Jessa Asiado, Teacher Christine Dantes, Teacher Half-Blood Princess, sana all Half-Blood Princess, no? Teacher Glendon Lee Latore, Teacher Sheila Baseño, Teacher Dean Clifford Huame, Teacher Cherry Ann Nicanor, Teacher Desiree Dino, Teacher Mina Miranda, at meron po siyang question if nagbibigay daw po tayong certificates. Yes. Okay. Teacher, thank you, Teacher Arlene, for answering the question as well. Teacher Napoleon Torsilino, Teacher Javier John Abside, Teacher Marjorie Manalang, Teacher Sherwin Taruken, Teacher Dennis Serso, Teacher Glendon Lee Latore, Teacher Tin, Teacher Mina Miranda, Teacher Richelle Pomarejo, Teacher Roland Ocampo, Teacher Inhes Davidism, Teacher Mary Grace Castillo, Teacher Jeline Palmes, Teacher Jeneline Carvalho, Teacher Dory Edulag, Teacher Marie Chris Bakatan, Teacher Abby Gale, Teacher Dave Hemark, Teacher Nguyen Kim Ngan. I think that's after some time, Teacher Nguyen Kim Ngan is back into our live sessions. Teacher Lamberto Pilatan, Teacher Daneline Divina, Teacher Jessan Asis, Teacher Danilo Ekat Jr., Teacher Princess Lo Ann Haspio, okay, Teacher Shaninil Alvarado, Teacher Yen Combaleser Noliedo, okay, Teacher Jeline Barrias, okay, Teacher Jeneline Carvalho, already mentioned, okay, Teacher Leisel Villantes, Teacher R.M. Ana Lisel, okay, Teacher Sir Adrian Han, Teacher Jen, ayun, mention ko na rin, Teacher Roda Bianes, no? Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. And welcome to our session for today. So, our session for today, no? Bago tayo magsimula, ano, at bago ko introduce ang ating first speaker, dalawa lang naman ang speakers natin for today, no? Okay? Will be about post-pandemic classrooms and learners, transformations and innovations. Okay, so the first thing is that why are we having this session? Okay, the idea lang is really to recap, no, our ideas about the pandemic, no, what happened in the pandemic, what were the transformations in the pandemic, and how would that possibly impact the post-pandemic classrooms and learners, okay? Or how would be the classrooms and learners, no, are being transformed or have already been transformed, okay, by the pandemic. And that's what we want to find out, okay? And this is just a disclaimer, no, because this is not necessarily based on a particular research, no, okay, or a case study, okay? Primarily, what we're going to share today, not what we're going to have for today, are insights, perceptions, ideas, coming from your speakers' experiences, no, and of course perspectives. Of course, meron din kami mga important researches, no, and data that we'll be presenting also later on. Pero siguro, just like we always tell, no, paulanin natin at saka painitin natin yung chat natin with insights and ideas, no, coming from all of you. Okay? Kasi alam ko, marami rin kayo share about what happened in the classroom during the pandemic, no, what's happening now, no, towards the new shift, no, to on-site, to hybrid learning, etc. Okay? And that's what we want to know. That's what we also want, what we're going to expect, no, from all of you, no, that sharing, no, and collaboration of ideas in the chat. As always, teachers, no, lagi naman natin pinapainit at lagi naman natin ginagamit yung chat na yan. Okay? So I hope that we can have all a very fruitful discussion this afternoon. Okay? Now, huwag nating patagalin, no? Introduce na kagad natin, okay, ang ating unang, actually hindi na kailangan pala ng introduction masyado nito, ano, okay? Kasi kilalang-kilala natin siya, no? Lalo na sa community natin, and especially in the Ed Puzzle community, okay? So i-welcome ko na lang sa ating stream, no? Kasi nga even our viewers, no, kilalang-kilala na po natin, okay? So let us welcome into our stream Sir Alwin Reclasado na Ed Puzzle Philippines Ambassador, at napakadami pa po niya, napakahaba pa niya, no? Also my co-faculty from Xavier School, okay? Sir Alwin, good afternoon.
Hello Sir Franco, hello teachers, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Ayan, okay. Kita niyo, ang una kong greeting kanina na nasa backstage kami ni Sir Alwin kanina, yan, napaka-fresh ni Sir Alwin, okay? Parang hindi po yan galing, teachers, no, sa isang linggo ng high flex setup, no, okay? Kitang-kita niyo ang pagiging blooming ni Sir Alwin, okay? So Sir Alwin, first thoughts first. When this topic was offered to you, okay? Well, first of all, no, talaga hindi ka naman makakano talaga sa akin. Just kidding. May konting bullying na nangyari po diyan, teachers, no. Pero first thought, Sir Alwin, no, why do you think it's important to think about now about the post-pandemic? I know wala pa tayo sa post-pandemic, Sir Alwin. Siguro yung clarification natin. Hindi pa tapos yung pandemic, teachers. No? We're still in the pandemic. Pero why are we now talking, or why are we supposed to talk about the post-pandemic classroom and learners?
Para sa akin Sir Franco, importante itong topic na to at ang unang pumasok sa akin talaga, ano ba yung mga dapat paghandaan natin ng mga educators? Ah, Parang yung sabi ko nga sa iyo, challenge accepted. Kasi it's really challenging for us to think ahead. Pero ito yung kailangan na nating gawin kasi moving forward from what we were used to, ano na kaya ang mga dapat nating paghandaan, ano na kaya dapat nating pag-isipan, ano na yung pagbabaliktad ng classroom na kailangan nating gawin at pagtuturo na kailangan nating gawin para mairaos na naman natin ang another school year and more school years to come.
Maraming salamat, Sir Alvin. And siguro ano rin, no, actually yung when I am actually thinking about this idea, no, is that gusto ko ko rin yung idea ng it's really important also to reflect back on what we have experienced so far and what we are experiencing, kasi yan din yung danger na ayaw ko sanang makommit ng mga teachers natin, no, yung mag-move on na lang tayo, okay? Yung wala na tayong bibit-bitin, no? Teachers, wag po natin gagawin. Mamaya papakita namin why the pandemic, no, is actually also very integral, very crucial element of the transformation of the 21st century education during the last 2 years of the pandemic school years. Okay, so yan po ang aabangan natin. Okay, so Sir Alwin, siguro, so that we can maximize our time for today, I'll give you the floor now, okay, so that you can start your session. Now, while Sir Alwin is preparing his presentation, teachers, please be reminded that this is a certified session. You'll be getting a certificate, no, right? Not right after, but after you have accomplished the evaluation. Okay, I'll be in the chat, teachers, as always. Let's talk and let's discuss. Okay, let's collaborate now with Sir Alwin as he discusses about the classroom transformations and innovations. Okay, in the pandemic and possibly in the post-pandemic. Okay, good luck, Sir Alwin.
Thank you very much, Sir Franco. So teachers, yun nga po, the topic that was given to me by Sir Franco is to discuss the post-pandemic classroom and transformations and innovations that happened within our time sa pagtuturo natin during the pandemic era. So, gaya ng sinabi ni Sir Franco, our disclaimer at disclaimer ko din, it is more of my experiences together with your experiences as teachers kung paano natin nairaos ang ating setup sa ating mga classroom at mga classrooms na pinag-uusapan natin, and together with the different transformations that have happened within. So, in the previous, kung ating babalikan, ito yung normal scenario ng ating classroom. So, si teacher nasa harap, then with the students or the learners, and then yung ating mga paboritong visual aids, di ba, teachers, yung ating Manila paper, and yun yung lagi nating nakikita. Yun yung lagi nating ever reliable, yung ating chalkboard and all. And the teachers, this has been the tradition that we were taught. So lahat tayo, karamihan ng mga teachers ngayon, ganito tayo naturuan at ganito din tayo nung mga panahon na nagtuturo tayo before the pandemic came. And extra mile to some other teachers, yung mga ating mga guro to different barrios, teachers to the mountains, to the IPs. So shout out sa pictures na shinare sa akin ng aking kaduwang, si Joseph or si Sir Gab, who has been a teacher to the barrio for 4 years bago nagturo sa to his another school. And this is also another challenge that what we are been doing. Na meron tayong mga teachers na tatawid ng ilog, aakyat ng mga bundok to deliver education. Kasi ang nakasanayan talaga natin is face to face. So gagawa tayo ng paraan whether yung classroom natin before, especially to those who have experienced this, na yung classroom natin baka bubong lang, wala talaga tayong physical classroom, but we deliver our lessons to our students. And then, pandemic happened. Came in the coronavirus, and which is also considered to be a black swan event. And as we talk about the black swan event, we say that this is completely unpredictable. No one was able to predict that this will happen to us. Walang nakaisip na magsha-shutdown ang mga airports, hindi tayo makakalabas, walang physical contact with our friends. And it really made an impact. Hindi lang sa Pilipinas, hindi lang sa sektor ng edukasyon, kundi sa lahat ng bagay. Nakakatakot. Meron times na sobrang takot tayo makihalubilo sa ating mga kaibigan, sa ating mga kilala, lalong-lalo na nung wala pang vaccine. We do not want to get out. We don't want to touch any other things aside from what we have been using or what we were used to. And yung pag-intindi natin ng COVID and the situation that it has brought about, the pandemic, is in retrospect. Binabalikan lang natin ang mga pangyayari. And it has been very challenging, not just in our sector, but once again, in all sectors. Thus, the need to build on anti-fragility. Na according to Taleb, this is learning from chaos. Nag-aaral tayo as teachers, nag-aaral tayo as people because of the chaos that has been happening. And when we say anti-fragility, it is going beyond what is robust and what is resilient. And in the field of education, hindi lamang tayo biglang nag-adjust, kundi it was actually napakalaking pagbabago ang ginawa nito sa landscape of education in the entire world. Thus, it will now lead me to this discussion on classroom transformations and innovations. And with the goal of anti-fragility na kahit mangyari man siguro ang susunod na pandemic, because of the transformations, innovations, and experiences that we have had, then baka kayang-kaya na nating harapin ang mga paghamon na ito, these following challenges, because we keep on transforming, we keep on innovating based from our experiences and how we keep on improving as teachers, as educators, so that we'll be able to deliver what we need to deliver from or to our students. So, ito na po ang nangyari sa ating most of the teachers, especially our public school teachers. I know, ramdam na ramdam po natin ang feeling nito, yung especially nung start ng pandemic, yung pagbuo natin ng mga modules na actually a lot of us do not have any experience of making modules before. Siguro na ituro ito in passing sa ating mga schools na nag-aaral tayo, pero biglaan tayong nasubukan sa paggawa or pag-develop ng ating modules. And aside from that, biglang naging online ang ating mga klase. So aside from modules, ang ating mga naging classroom natin ang Zoom, naging classroom natin ang Google Meet among others, at naging very helpful sa atin ang iba't ibang technology. Of course, nandiyan ang ating mga Google Apps, Edpuzzle, and quizzes among others na lagi nating ginamit at nakikita natin ang ating mga estudyante once in a while kapag nag-on sila ng camera or whenever we have our online sessions. And this is also a struggle that there are some teachers who would want to keep their classrooms, to keep their classes interactive. Pero this is the real situation outside the physical classroom. Yung ating mga students go out of their houses sometimes kapag gusto natin maging interactive. They are willing participants sa ating mga activities sa class. So this has been the transformation of our classroom. So aside from us not being with our students physically, we are maximizing and doing the best that we can through the different applications, through the different technology that we have been learning. And I personally, marami po akong natutunan sa mga iba't ibang na-share dito sa Kaagapay Teacher Support. And we also had our different meetings, sessions, webinars sa ating through online. So nakikita natin, nakikipag-communicate na tayo sa iba't ibang mga tao, iba't ibang mga, not just in our country, but in different places around the world because of this situation, because of the pandemic. Na nakita natin na pwede pala, kaya pala. And if we're going to take a look at this, looking at the SAM-R model of Ruben Puentadura as well, na sa kanyang redefinition of education, that we can already create things that were previously na hindi natin naisipan na kaya pala, pwede pala. But we have been delivering it already. We have been doing things. We have been redefining, retransforming what were used to be certain tasks that were impossible. And we have been so used to all of this. Ang classroom natin, lagi tayong naka-Zoom, meron tayong Bouncy, meron tayong Google Classroom, and the different things that would have let us be already in the comfort of our homes. Or if ever we go to our classrooms, this is, we sit on top of our laptop or sa ating mga gadgets at doon na tayo nagtuturo. And to think, this has been our anti-fragility already. So eto na yung bagay na ating that going beyond the resilience. Kasi nakakahanap na tayo ng iba't ibang paraan para ma-deliver ang ating mga lesson na minsan habang nagkakape, nagtuturo na din tayo or playing with our dogs and all of these different things. With the use of, once again, different apps such as Kahoot. Hello to our first Filipina ambassador ng Kahoot sa Pilipinas, Miss May. Nandito din. At ang ating pambansang Kahooter na si Mr. Educado, nandito din. At hello din sa ating mga iba't ibang teachers who have been using Edpuzzle, ClassPoint, quizzes, Wakelet, among others. At ito yung ating mga nakasanayan na natin. And for us, we kept on innovating, doing the different things, and we have been using this. Parang ito na yung transformation na naisip natin the past 2 years. Na nag-start tayo, anong gagawin? Module lang ba? Ito lang ba yung gagawin natin? Hanggang sa nakasanayan na natin ang paggamit ng Canva to make our classes more interactive with ClassPoint, with promoting, supporting student engagement with Genially, Bouncy, among others. And then, ito na naman yung mga dapat nating mga harapin. 2020, 2021, ngayon, 2022. What now? Babalik ba tayo sa nakasanayan with some of the things that DepEd have been telling us na, and some schools who have been going back to face-to-face. At sabi ng DepEd din na it is one of the goals of DepEd na magkaroon na tayo ng face-to-face in all schools wherein it is permitted. Yes, I agree, Ma'am Arlene, that built in na yung resilience talaga sa teachers, whether with pandemic or not. That's why when we say anti-fragility nga na sinasabi natin, it goes beyond that robustness of resilience. Kundi nakakaisip na tayo, parang ito na yung nakikita na natin yung future na pwede natin gamitin with or without the pandemic. Kasi yun nga, kahit walang pandemic, alam nating lahat na ang teachers kayang-kayang gawan or hanapan ng solusyon ang mga problemang kinakaharap. So, according to OECD, ito na yung mga dapat natin pag-aralan when we are talking about the future of our classroom, wherein schooling is extended, education is now outsourced, schools becoming learning hubs, and learn as you go. So when we talk about schooling extended, we are talking about the participation in formal education continues to expand, and we already collaborate with the use of technology to support more individualized learnings. So, yung mga structures, yung mga processes, they remain in school, but this time we collaborate and we support global citizenship. There are instances wherein we now have different activities na pwede na makipag-collaborate ang mga students sa Philippines with the students from the United States. I'm sure meron tayong mga teachers dito na may experience na nito in line with collaboration. And please feel free po to share sa ating mga kapwa teachers dito na nagkaroon ng collaboration experiences sa ating iba't ibang mga sa ibang bansa. Then education is outsourced. So before, yung ating lahat ng nangyayari is that it is inside the classroom. But now, learning takes place through more diverse, privatized, and flexible arrangement with digital technology as a key driver. So napaka-importante ng paggamit natin ng teknolohiya when we talk about the future of education and the future of the classroom. That going beyond the traditional classroom setup na alam naman natin kung paano yon, wherein in the previous, when we talk about traditional classrooms, there are also some teachers, whether we like it or not, parang takot sila dati sa teknolohiya. Takot sila sa paggamit ng projector, may takot sa paggawa ng PowerPoint kasi baka magkamali, baka mali yung mapindot. And then all of a sudden, pandemic came, naging experts na tayo sa iba't ibang mga pamamaraan. And nagkaroon tayo ng iba't ibang uh, naging ambassadors, naging uh, ng iba't ibang educational apps, and we have been using and maximizing this all over the place. And according to some of our, for example, quizzes, according to quizzes, we are the sixth in the world sa paggamit ng quizzes. Sixth ang Pilipinas pagdating sa algorithm ng quizzes, sa dami ng mga teachers at users ng quizzes sa buong mundo. That's how powerful now this digital technology is. That even if we are already, or even if we are not with our students, we see to it that we are helping them reach their full potentials with the use of technology. Then, schools as learning homes, wherein schools remain, but diversity and experimentation have become the norm. So nagkakaroon na ng iba't ibang pagbabago or changes or innovations and transformations within the school and the classroom. And we have been opening the walls, connect to schools to the communities, favoring ever-changing forms of learning, civic engagement, and social innovations. So siguro sa learning hubs, I suggest maganda yung present dati ni Miss May on making learning hubs, which she presented last month using Wakelet. So we can use this app for us to build on our learning hubs as well. And then learn as you go. So, hindi na basta-basta yung education natin, parang mag-aaral ka lang pag nasa classroom, tapos uuwi to work on your assignment, library. Ngayon, with the use of digital media, together with the different gadgets, pwedeng-pwede na tayong mag-aral anywhere, anytime. That's how flexible education is now. Or we can also say the distinction between formal and informal learning. And nandun yung support ng teacher the teacher prepares everything, but the students can now learn anywhere. Basta meron silang connection, meron silang internet, or they can also bring their modules anywhere with them. So yes, may validation po tayo from Teacher AZ. Dati it takes time sa paggawa ng presentation. Now, easy peasy na lang. It is all because of the pandemic. Kailangan na puwersa tayo, di ba? Dati voluntary ang mga bagay na ito. But this time, we need to learn, we need to focus so that we'll be able to meet the demands and expectations of our students, our school, and the community in general. And once again, ibabalik ko po ang ating ever famous na traditional classroom, and together with our favorite Manila paper na minsan yun nga ifo-fold natin para pa-suspend sa ating mga students kasi ayaw pa nating makita yung next problem or yung next content. This is our traditional classroom. A classroom that we know as of early 2020. And then it became a classroom fully online. It became classroom that have been classroom with the help of technology. So naging online na lahat ng ating mga ginagawa or karamihan ng ating mga ginagawa wherein our students attend our class. For us, for me, for example, I call or label my Zoom as my Zoom classroom. So because this is where I interact with our students. So before pandemic, the classroom that we are talking about is the physical room wherein we meet our students face to face. And then we now have the online classroom wherein we meet our students online already and we interact with them online. And then another thing happened. Nagkaroon tayo ng permission to work on face to face. So this is a picture from one of my classmates sa graduate school, Miss Norabel Calusay. And this is her a picture from Sultan Kudarat wherein eto na naman yung bagong pangyayari. Ito yung mga kaganapan na nangyayari sa ating mga classroom. So pag-aayos to follow the protocol of the government, and this time with the use of gumagamit na si ma'am ng PowerPoint na according to her before she's almost zero technology, and then with the use of her chalkboard, and then nagkaroon na ng kanyang projector, yung kanyang naging projector na niya yung kanyang TV. So this is now a transformation in the classroom. Nagkakaroon na ng addition ng gadget sa ating classroom to deliver our lessons better, and for our visual learners, mas nagiging engaged din sila. And then we now go to a buzzword, which is high flex. So teachers, before po ako mag-proceed siguro sa pag-share on high flex setup, sino sa inyo yung naka-experience na ng hybrid or nag-practice ng hybrid last school year sa ating mga co-teachers? Let's use the chat box po. And how is your experience on high flex? So according to Sir Joseph Gabriel, one main concern na lang talaga, as I have always reiterated in convos with other educators, is the need for a stable, robust, and wide-reaching connectivity infrastructures, and saying hello to high flex. For Ma'am Amelinda, I do believe that our educational system would be great if they support digital innovations that can be used by teachers. So while waiting for the others to share about their experience on the HighFlex, siguro let me proceed. And this is just a recall of what a HighFlex classroom is. Kasi alam naman po natin, or most of us are aware of what HighFlex already is. Kasi sa pagkakaalam ko, this has been the main goal, o ito yung gusto nating ma-reach na ating na or ideal classroom or the ideal setup in our classes in the near future. So according to Ma'am Arlene, SDO Dasmariñas City, nagpa-seminar na po last year about hybrid classes. And according to Sir Franco, may experience na siya for 4 days. Yes, go Sir Franco. So, basic definition lang po tayo on high flex. When we talk about high flex, this is actually hybrid and flexible. So, when we say hybrid, so nagkakaroon po tayo dito ng setup with the use of online and face-to-face. So, this is a mixture and they take courses to a new level of flexitivity. So, when we talk about this, when we talk about hybrid setup, once again, nagkakaroon tayo ng learning in the classroom and learning online. But when we talk about, there is also a special kind of high flex, which kami yung ginagawa din po namin is concurrent high flex, wherein sabay na nagtuturo online and face-to-face. So, what are the benefits of high flex according to uh, EduCos? This gives students the freedom to study when and where they want to base on their own needs, desires, and preferences. And actually, this kind of idea will be limited by the school. Kung ano ba yung setup, that is why we work on flexi. That's why we say it is flexible. And students can choose to take the class online, in the classroom, or both. So similar din, as we implement high flex in our school ngayon, meron po kaming students na papasok for 1 week for online than the others kasi with the limitations that we have ang ginawa po namin, we divided our classes for those who would want to join the physical face-to-face. The class was divided into two. For week 1, week 2, yung ganun po yung nangyayari, nagkakaroon ng rotation. And if you are not in the classroom physically, then you are studying online. Everything is simultaneous. Then course material is offered in traditional and online formats, and students can choose how they attend courses weekly, which can resolve many scheduling conflicts. So let me go back sa inyong mga sharing po sa ating chat box. According to Ma'am May, infrastructure upgrade and upskilling of teachers, reorientation of parents and students, and that's for their high flex. For Ma'am Princess, together with my co-practice teachers are here watching. Hi, ma'am. For Mama Melinda, for her, she said that she doesn't have any idea of what high flex is. Ma'am, I hope that I'll be able to share to you some insights about high flex. Although, yun po, the discussion is not in full-blown discussion on high flex, but it is also sharing about our experience or my experience with the high flex setup. So for Ma'am Dayan, 1 week online, 1 week face-to-face with 20 to 25 only per room. Yes, ma'am, that's also the limitations that we are facing right now with the high flex. And some of what we see online, this is a setup of Jose Rizal Elementary School in the division of Pasay City when they tried to do the pilot testing for hybrid or high flex. So nakita po natin yung sinasabi ng ating mga ibang teachers na about the infrastructures or the materials or the gadgets that they are using or kung ano yung mga kailangan. So nakikita natin dito in the setup, it has 2 projectors, merong camera, then may TV, then may dalawang laptop, and then students, meron silang gadgets. So this is Jose Rizal Elementary School. Then in Pinagbuhatan High School, this is from Mr. Michael Morelia, when they had their pilot session on hybrid. So sa kanila naman, ang kanilang setup, they also have 2 laptops and they all have 2 televisions, TV. So makikita natin yung isang side, it is for the students or online students. So they are on full-blown hybrid. And in Savior, we also have this setup. So our students are some of our students are on site. Then we also have our TV. Then we have our computer, camera, projector, and speakers and mic. So this is also the setup that we do for HiFlex. And this is also an experience natin to ni Sir Franco last week uh, for his classes. But the thing now is, ito yung idea. What we see, these are the classrooms that we would want to have, or these are the experiences that we would want. But after all the transformations and innovations that we have had during the pandemic, ano kaya ang mga challenges? What are the challenges that we need to face or we will be facing when we go back to the classroom, especially if we are going on hybrid setup or high flex setup or in the near future. So teachers, for me to discuss this to you, especially on the challenges, sinabi ko po or gagamitin ko ang salitang grit. So siguro, let us take a look at these challenges in a more positive way. Parang kapit lang, kaya natin to. So, groundwork. Nakikita ko po kaya medyo hindi ko ina-address yung ibang mga teacher, yung mga ibang concerns ng teachers sa chat kanina because I will be taking a look at them, or this is part of the things that I will be talking about. So, the first thing is institutional and classrooms infrastructures together with resources. So, in our ground level, sa ating mga classroom, kaya nating i-develop or ibigay yung mga gadgets, or how can we have these different activities? And according to uh, Ma'am Desiree, medyo costly and set up ng HiFlex kung sabay sa class ang face-to-face at online. Yes, it is really is. That's why we have to go back on the infrastructures of our respective schools and classrooms. Kasi aside from the gadgets that we are going to use, kailangan din nating makita yung internet connection. Kaya ba? Malakas ba? Can we deliver it? And what are the different resources, or where will we outsource these different gadgets and different materials that we are going to use as we deliver? This is, for me, ito yung isa sa pinakamalaking challenge na kinakaharap ng ating mga schools at ng ating mga classroom. Kasi if we don't have the resources, then it is very challenging really to move on with this new setup. Next, refine and redefine. It is somewhat easy for us already to work and deal with technology and deal with pedagogy with our online setup. Based from our experiences, alin kaya ang pinaka-importante or pinaka-magandang way para ma-deliver ang ating lesson? What are the different means that we could use? How good the teachers already are in line with digital technology and how literate they are. So maraming trainings, nag-boom ang iba't ibang webinars, nag-boom ang iba't ibang training sessions sa iba't ibang lugar, not just in the Philippines but even outside the country because of the pandemic. And then nag-boom din ang iba't ibang technological tools sa pagtuturo, and we were able to explore different pedagogies whenever we are teaching. But this time, when we are moving to high flex setup, or when we are going to a different setup aside from online, then we need to refine. Is applicable pa ba yung way ng pagtuturo ko? Kaya pa ba? Or kailangan ko nang mag-isip ng ibang paraan para so that I'll be able to develop, or I'll be able to promote, or I'll be able to support learning better. So this is one way for us to take a look at how we could refine or redefine our lessons, or as we prepare for hybrid setup. So teachers, another disclaimer, one of the reasons why I am focusing on the discussion on the hybrid setup is because this is one of the ideal setup, or one of the things that a lot of schools and institutions are gearing towards right now, especially in our country, because our goal is to deliver lessons face to face, and as much as possible, we deliver lessons online. So, if we're going to take a look at this, this is a setup, and this is from the Linden School. This is the hybrid learning model, especially on the high flex. So, ano yung dapat gawin or makikita natin sa isang high flex na classroom? So a teacher, when we say this in this high flex classroom, this is on concurrent high flex setup. So ito po yung nangyayari ng sabay ang pagtuturo online at face to face. So for example, in the first one, we see the teacher. The teacher gives the introduction, either a lecture, a video, or an example. So students in class could be observers in person. Then students at home, they are observing via Zoom, take down notes. Then the technological tools that we need are camera, mic, and video conference. And in our case, we use Zoom. And then we can, when we are talking about work with school group, maybe as a next task of the teacher, then it could have, it could work with two different things. So the teacher in class, or those who are in face to face, they are working with the teacher. And then we may assign an activity to our students for asynchronous task. So pwede nating i-split yung ating class at this moment, and then we can go back right after. And then we can change the design again. So you can give the task to your teacher, to your students in class, and this time mag-focus naman tayo sa ating mga students who are at home. So based on my experience from our pilot test together with yung start ng aming high flex, teachers, napaka-importante that our Zoomies or the students who are online are not left behind. That's why we have to refine our lesson planning now. We have to refine or redefine the way we deal with our students. Kasi there is a tendency na napapabayaan natin yung ating mga students who are online. Naiintindihan ko naman yon kasi nung una na-experience ko din yon. Bakit kaya ganun yung nangyayari? It is maybe because we miss having a face-to-face interaction with our students. And minsan nakakalimutan na meron tayong students who are studying at home. So we have to consider once again that we are working with two different types of students here. And when we say we have to change or give them tasks, we also have to consider this time aling task ang mas applicable kapag yung student ay online at alin yung task na mas applicable kapag yung student ay face-to-face. So let me just give an example. Yung pwedeng two different tasks at the same time or pwedeng mangyari ng sabay. So in my experience, in what I did when I did the introduction to volume to my students, so I use Realia. So I let my students in class discover the different sides of a solid figure, and we work on that solid figure as we discussed. And since I cannot technically require yung Realia na dapat nagagamitin ko sa mga students ko who are online, what I did was I searched for an Ed Puzzle video, and I assigned an Ed Puzzle video for those who are online. So same time yung nagamit namin, I gave 15 minutes to those who are online, and I discussed for 15 minutes to those who are in class. So these are the different things that we can work in line with the hybrid learning model. And most practically, this is from the Linden School. So the next thing that I would want to consider, teachers, is impact. And isa sa mga dapat nating ma-promote and highly support is student agency. Kasi no matter how amazing our lessons are, no matter how amazing our presentations now with the use of Geniali, Canva, or ganun tayo kagaling sa paggamit ng iba't ibang teknolohiya, babalik at babalik tayo sa main point ng ating mga ginagawa dapat, which is to promote and support student agency. What do we mean by this? So when I say student agency, this is now to take a look at the capacity to set a goal, reflect, and act responsibly to effect change. Wherein yung mga students natin, they are now the ones who will own their own learning. So the students know how to act on these different challenges that they are experiencing in their respective houses or in class than being acted upon. And they are shaping rather than being shaped, and making responsible decisions and choices rather than accepting those determined by others. So this is now one of the key terms that we should be considering as well, because when we talk about the impact of education now, we know that it is very challenging. We know that we have been hearing some negative things, negative comments about the way education is being delivered, or education is being watered down because of the pandemic, or sasabihin ng iba, we hear this, there are instances that we hear this na walang natututunan yung estudyante sa online, nangongopya lang yung estudyante, like this and like that. That is why let's now work on the idea of student agency as one of the things that we have to consider when we develop our lessons now and much more in the future, on the impact of the lessons that we are giving and working on. Similarly, when we talk about impact of education to our students, this is for us to give our students motivation to own their learning and continually improve. Because of the challenge of engagement that we know right now, that we are facing right now, and even in the future, so based on experience then, teachers, I have a student uh, na sobrang absent-minded when he is in online. And then when we did our pilot testing last March, and he chose to be one of the volunteers to go for face-to-face, parang ibang student yung kaharap ko. He is always active, he is always participative, he did all of his tasks on time. Laging nakataas yung kanyang kamay. And then I asked him na how come it seems that you're so different sa online. Sabi niya, I prefer really online. I prefer really to be in a face-to-face because I learn more. So it is also a challenge for us when we develop our lessons to motivate our students more. Kasi what if yung student natin in the future, active siya kapag nasa klase, pero the moment that he goes to online class, he becomes inactive. Then, skills students will need for work and higher study and life in general. Wherein, we now give the ideas in line with the skills that they will be using in the future and in real life. So hindi lang, not because we need to meet the different learning goals that we have, but we also have to consider their contexts, and in the future, ano kaya yung kailangan ng mga estudyante ko na pag-aralan at matutunan. Because if you notice, there are instances that they said that banking was not taught to students, or they were not taught how to divide properly the different tasks to for them to do, to be multitasking among others. So these are life skills that we also need to impart, and I hope that our students will learn them as they learn from our lessons. And our activities, for them to be more engaging, should be real, relevant, and purposeful for our students. And improve standards of education and behavior and higher efficiency within the school, including more time available for teaching. And these are from prometheanworld.com. And finally, redefining the ICT or with the use of technology. So if we see before, for example, you have been a user of Edpuzzle teachers. So, ayun po, promoting Edpuzzle as always. So, when we are using, for example, when we are using Edpuzzle in the previews, what we do online is that we assign the video to our students. But the challenge now is what if the students are face to face? Will they get the benefit that they used to get from the online setup, or we have to redefine the way we use technology already? Magiging useful pa ba ang paggamit natin ng iba't ibang klase ng teknolohiya na nakasanayan nating gamitin noong mga nakaraan pag bumalik na tayo sa face-to-face or with the limited face-to-face that we are having? Pipilitin ba natin mga students or maghahanap na naman tayo ng iba't iba ng bagong paraan? So teachers, in this case, when we say we need to redefine the use of technology in our classroom, then for example, with the use of video lesson from Edpuzzle, now what we do or what we are exploring is to do it live or use live mode, the live mode feature of Edpuzzle so that we can use or we can do it with our students live. So this time we can discuss them immediately. We can give the feedback right away already. So this is a way for us to engage the students who are now online or who are now in the classroom rather. So this is a change from the main idea that we are doing when we were in pure online. So for the students, we can assign this video as asynchronous tasks. On the other hand, for students who are on site, we can do the live mode or use the live mode so that we can have an engagement with them face to face. And as we say, we are redefining ICT. We are now emphasizing on bridging the attainment gap. If we have been following certain several researches in the previous, wherein there was a learning gap. There was a learning gap that because of the pandemic, we have watered down some of the skills that we need to give or the essential competencies. Nagbawas tayo ng ating mga ituturo sa mga ating estudyante or minsan we were not able to address what we need to fully address because of the limitations that we have. It is not our fault. It is not the fault of the education sector, but it is the best that we can do to deliver. But when we say we are emphasizing, now when we do this, we emphasize now on not just bridging the gap, but attainment gap already. Kasi 2 taon na po tayong nasa pandemic learning. So we have to work on this idea that we have to double time siguro, but this time with the use of ICT or with the use of technology. And when we say we are bridging the attainment gap, we explore new ways to design, monitor, and assess learning, and always embed the tech tools best positioned to enhance this bridging the gap. Kasi lagi nating sinasabi na madali lang naman, gagamit na lang ako ng technology, kayang-kaya na ng mga estudyante ko yan. They experienced this already in the previous. Pero, again, teachers, now, since we were experts of technology in our own ways already, now we have to innovate. Another way to innovate, another way to use, another way to design so that we'll be able to help promote and support learning from our classroom. So baka hindi na po effective na yung ibibigay ko yung code, basahin ng estudyante, manood ng video, tapos na. Baka this time, yung paggamit ko ng video, there are different ways para mas magamit ako ng video. There are different ways for me to collaborate with my students who are inside the classroom with the use of Wakelet, or I can use Kahoot in a different way, quizzes in a different way, or I can let them explore the use of Genially in a different way. So marami po tayong ibang apps. Alam ko po na pag-aralan na natin ang mga ito. And they were effective in the online setup. But again, this is a challenge with technology and with the use of technology on redefining ICT. So once again, teachers, our disclaimer for our discussion today on the post-pandemic classroom. This is how we visualize it. This is we have some parts of the discussion or sharing are research based, but I would want or my discussion more is on our experiences, our context as teachers in the Philippines, together with the possible challenges that we are going to meet. So, with the post pandemic classroom that we visualize and with the post pandemic activity that we will be doing with the use of hybrid setup, let me just go back to the challenges that I have mentioned. It is always important to meet with the groundwork still. Kapag malaki na po yung problema natin sa ground, then kailangan po muna nating i-address at wag po tayong basta-basta sumugod kasi magandang pakinggan, kasi magandang gawin, or ito yung ginagawa ng ibang schools. So perhaps it is better for us to really focus on our infrastructures first and to be sure na kaya natin, kaya ng school natin, kaya ng classroom natin to work on it. Kasi when this crumbled, when our network is so stressed, we will not be able to deliver well. Then the setup that we will be working on will actually fail. So it is very important for us to build on the ground. Gaya ng lagi kong sinasabi din sa ating mga ibang co-teachers, kailangan nating malaman ang problema sa grassroots para ma-address natin yung problema ng grassroots, hindi yung coming from eto yung alam ko at ito yung dapat yung sundin because we are not actually giving the solution if we are solving out of touch. So we have to be in touch with what we are doing. So that will be able to refine and redefine the way we teach and what we teach to our students. And as we redefine our pedagogy, we have to take a look at the impact to our students so that we'll be able to promote and support student agency. And finally, we'll be able to use our mastery of technology in a different light. So, teachers, those are the challenges, but let us be positive, let us be flexible, and let us always work with grit. So, yun po ang aking sharing for today. And once again, I am Alwin Reclusado, and I hope that I was able to share something and share some insights on the post pandemic classroom on transformations and innovations. Sir Franco?
Napaka-humble nung ano 'no, yun lang. Pero napakadami na kaagad na share ni Sir Alwin 'no. So, maraming Sir Alwin and of course 'no, kanina pa nagko-comment yung mga teachers natin how they love yung acronym na ginamit mo Sir Alwin 'no, which is, GREET. Actually the meaning itself, okay, it's yung acronym itself na sobrang ganda na, pero yung meaning itself pa behind 'no, yung the actual word grit is also very applicable no, Sir Alwin, kasi talagang I think the post-pandemic classroom will be, a test of grit for our students, a test of grit for our teachers, okay? We know that, Sir Alwin 'no, since our first run of the Hyplex setup in the classroom, okay? So ano talaga 'no, talagang very, may yung entirety ng idea na present mo Sir Alvin is really amazing. So yan, maraming salamat 'no. Although siguro lang Sir Alvin kanina lang may nagkaroon ng konting ano 'no, hindi naman like, negative feeling 'no, pero siyempre medyo may konting hope and of course, frustration in a way din 'no. Siyempre kasi talagang teachers totoo talaga 'no, the high flex setup needs a better or a really good infrastructure. That's a must. Okay, we can't really run a high-flex setup without that. No, we can't expect our teachers to be bringing their mobile devices or mobile internet no to support their own classes. No, not going to be possible anymore. Okay, so yun. Okay, so teachers, we have a dedicated Q&A later on 'no, mas sasagutin namin ni Sir Alwin, yung mga questions niyo, yung mga insights niyo later on, okay? So for the meantime, ipa-park muna natin si Sir Alwin
Yes.
sa backstage 'no, habang, nag-iintay tayo ng ano, after matapos natin yung session natin, okay? Because we still have a second part of our session for today. Again, maraming salamat Sir Alwin. Ayun. Okay, so teachers, let's now move on 'no, to our next one. Okay, next, session. Okay, parang ang hirap sundan ano, okey. Lagi talaga 'yan 'no, 'pag next time nga 'no, ilalagay ko na sa una, lalagay ko na sa dulo si Sir Alvin para laging ano, laging dulo ng session kasi ang hirap sundan 'no. Well, at least ako kasi yung kasunod niya ngayon 'no, pero, hindi ko masyado nare-realize na 'pag iba yung kasunod niya. Pero ang hirap sundan ng mga presentations talaga ni Sir Alvin kasi very concise 'no, at very meaty yung mga sharings ni Sir Alvin. So again, maraming maraming salamat Sir Alvin 'no. Kahit ako every time makikinig ako kay Sir Alvin, ang dami ko pa ring natututunan. Okay, so thank you so much for that 'no. And of course teachers 'no, let me back up 'no, yung session ni Sir Alvin with, a more focused inquiry, no, which is on the learners. Okay? Kasi kanina, mas malaki yung scope ni Sir Alwin. No? Okay? It involves the entire classroom na nandun yung teacher, nandun yung students, yung technology, yung pedagogies and strategies, etc. Ang laki actually ng scope ni Sir Alwin. No? So ako naman, what I'm going to do now is to just really reflect more on the post-pandemic learner. No? So sino tong mga may encounter natin, okay? For the next few years no after the pandemic or even during the pandemic no or the continuing or continuation of the pandemic, but of course sana no matapos na talaga itong pandemic na to. Okay, so let me start with teachers no with an introduction. Again, I'm Franco Nicolopiadon, one of the administrators of Kaagapay Teacher Support no, and I'll be sharing, just like Sir Alwin, I'll be sharing my insights and perceptions from my own personal experiences. Okay, of course no, still back up with some information, data that I have gathered and collected no, from the internet, okay, from researches, okay. But otherwise, no, most of the things I'm going to share now, no, are based on my own ideas, okay, perceptions, okay. So you're more than welcome to criticize maybe or to add to it, or to correct me if there's something wrong about it. Okay, so teachers, just like kanina, I also want insights no and discussions in the chat no. Napaka-active ng chat natin kanina during the discussion of Sir Alwin. Okay? So, for our session flow, we'll just do and revisit the pre-pandemic learner profile. Okay, so re-revisit natin tong mga learners natin no pre-pandemic. Okay? Partly and partially no, Sir Alwin already covered no most of them. Okay? Madami doon sa mga discussions Sir Alwin also reflects the kinds of learners that we've had before. Okay? And of course, the post-pandemic the transformations and innovations in the pandemic, no? Also, some of them already mentioned by Sir Alwin. Okay? And we'll talk about the post-pandemic learner. Then we enter to the question and answer together with Sir Alwin for today. Okay? Simulan natin teachers para ano natin 'no. So unahin natin muna, i-revisit natin yung pre-pandemic learners natin. So sino nga ba 'tong mga pre-pandemic learners natin and how do they learn, okay? So of course 'no, if you think about the learning, profiles of our students, okay, learning styles of our students, okay, marami kang makikitang mga theories, okay? So a lot of theories are actually floating around no, in order to understand no the how students learn, okay, or our learners, okay, in that sense, okay? Pre-pandemic. Okay, so ito yung mga pre-pandemic learning theories no kung paano natututo ang mga estudyante natin, okay? So let's look at first some learning models no that are quite popular no. I just pick like three no out of the many learning theories no para lang mabalikan natin no paano nga ba natututo yung mga students natin prior to the pandemic, okay? So of course no always no, this is actually coming from the multiple intelligence framework, okay, which is the VARC model, okay, wherein it basically ano no divides no the learner profiles, okay, into the visual, to the auditory, to the reading, and to the kinesthetic. Okay, so according to this to this model, okay, our learners are either visually motivated to learn. So it means that they react better to visualizations, to presentations, to posters, to pictures, to images, or to demonstrations. If they see something, they actually learn better. Okay, or they are either auditory, which means hearing, no, basically listening. So there are sometimes students who are not actually looking when you are talking before, no. I've encountered students like that before, no. Yung mga hindi nakatingin sa'yo and you think they're doing something else na hindi sila nakikinig sa'yo. And then you realize that they're actually auditory learners, no. They actually listen to you and pick up more information. Okay? And of course, meron ka din mga reading learners, no, kung saan naman yung mga learners natin that are more or less into reading text, no, engagement with written text, no, and that allows them to acquire more information, no, through reading. Okay, and you also have yung mga kinesthetic. Ito yung mga magagalaw, no. Okay, ang tawag natin sa mga students ito minsan ay yung mga, well, okay, we don't actually label them, no. Dapat nan po natin ginagamit yung label na yan just so, no, in the classroom, because kailangan meron tayong proper diagnosis, no. So yung example, minsan nagagamit natin yung word na ADHD. Yung mga students natin sobrang magagalaw, sobrang malilikot, no. Could definitely, no, not all of them, okay, definitely has ADHD, or sometimes lang talagang full of energy lang sila at talagang mas gusto nilang gumagalaw in order to learn better. Okay? Teachers, observe mo rin yung mga minsan may mga students na mayroong mga actions na ginagawa in order to acquire information. Okay? Mga kinesthetic learners din yan. No? Since hindi sila makagalaw fully, okay? That actually manifests in some way, no, to like holding a pen, or kaya meron silang ginagawa sa paa nila, okay, in order to just move, okay, because that helps them, no, to acquire information. Okay, yung mga kinesthetic learners natin. Okay, so ito yung again, no, learner profile. Some of the learner profiles, no, pre-pandemic. Is it still true? Post-pandemic, well, could still be true, no, pero iba na rin. Okay, meron na rin tayong mga iba't ibang mga learner profiles na pag-usapan natin later on. Okay, this one is interesting. Okay, let me just change view, no, para mas makita nyo. This is the Kolb's learning cycle. At napakaganda nito kasi it's anchored on 4 important aspects, which is the feel, the doing, the thinking, and the watching. Okay? And whenever we and these combinations, no, the feel, the watch, think, and doing aspects, no, if there are combinations, okay, kapag nagkakaroon ka ng mga combinations, actually result into certain things. Okay? Say for example, okay, if students are feeling and doing, they can actually accommodate. Okay? So they're able to accommodate information, new skills, okay, or tasks. Okay? If students are feeling and watching, okay, they're able to diverge. Okay? So they're able to further expand their understanding, their learning. Okay, or if they're doing and thinking, they can actually converse about it. Okay, so they can start talking about it because they have done it, okay, and have thought about it. Okay, so they have like deeper understanding of the concepts or ideas. Okay, or if they're watching and thinking, okay, they could actually assimilate. And then that's basically allows them to acquire new information, okay, or do the information, no? Okay. And what else about it, no? Kasi that kapag ano naman yung sa line, ano, okay? Kapag naman doing and watching, no, they're actually able to do processing, okay? Or kapag nandun naman tayo sa line ng feeling and thinking, you're able to do perception. Okay? So napakaganda ng models na to, no? Okay? And this takes into account, no, na hindi lang isang modality yung acquisition of knowledge. Okay? So ito yung sinasabi nila dito, no? Okay? That our learners, no, even pre-pandemic, no, are learning in multiple modalities. Okay? At meron kang multiple aspects na kailangan tingnan in order to really catch that or accommodate your different learner profiles. Okay? So ang dami. Okay? Yes, no, mas detailed compared sa experiential learning si Cobb, no. In a way, Sir Jeffrey, no, kasi mas no, yung combinations. Although ang limitations lang ni ni Cobb, no, is that maybe hindi pa kasama, for example, yung other aspects na mamaya pag-uusapan natin in the post-pandemic profile natin. Okay? And so yan, no, the Kolb's learning cycle naman yan. Okay? This one is another yet interesting idea. No? This one, what I really like is that it proposes four different aspects, no, or four different profiles of your students. They're either logical, no, these are the analytical students. Okay, so these are more on like problem solving, on very hard sciences. Okay, or you also have your playful, imaginative. These are the creative students. Okay, who are mostly engaged, no, into thinking different things, no, outside of maybe the content or outside of the the instruction. So create these are the very creative, no, very innovative minds that you have. Okay, and organizers, these are your planners, no, organizers. Okay, the planner student. Okay, mostly they are the ones that are usually engaged in creating events. Okay, or managing events, or maybe leading classes. Okay, so mataas ang leadership styles din, no, or tendencies ng mga organizers natin. And of course, you also have expressive and the emotional. Okay, so you have this different learner profiles, no, from different learning theories. Okay, pre-pandemic. Okay, and aside from that, okay, meron pa akong mga iba pang mga mga observations, okay, to the learners natin. Okay, pre-pandemic. Okay, and of course teachers, no, hindi to all encompassing, no, siguro yun lang yung disclaimer ko for this. Okay, hindi, this will not definitely, no, like pigeonhole all our students, okay, into this different observations. Okay, pero ito lang yung na observe ko, no, pre-pandemic ni some of our learners. Okay, are content-heavy learners. Okay? I don't know, no, kung this is also true for you, pero before pandemic, sobrang heavy talaga ng curriculum natin. Kaya ang dami nating kailangang ituro, ang dami nating gustong ituro, at daming ipinapaturo sa atin sa mga students natin. Therefore, the students are also so much engaged in more content. Okay? They're like really lunod na lunod sila sa content, no, throughout their learning time, no, sa class natin. Okay, so sobrang dami lang. Okay, and namaya pag-usapan natin, no, because that's also one of the innovations na-encounter natin or ma-encounter natin post-pandemic, which is a good thing. Okay, yung pag-address, no, sa mga content-heavy learners natin. Okay? But of course, no, yung mga students natin kasi, hindi naman nila aaralin yan kung hindi yan ibinigay sa kanila or hindi yan requirement. Okay? So talagang dala rin yan, no, or brought din ng ano natin, ng curriculums natin. Okay? Second one, okay? Textbook teacher-dependent learners. Okay? I also don't know kung na-experience nyo ito. Talagang one, our students, no, kapag walang instruction ni teacher, parang hindi makagalaw. Okay, parang walang gagawin at all. Okay, parang pag hindi mo sinabi ang ganito, okay, kaya kahit nga minsan, pag kahit clear na yung instruction, like get 1/4, teacher, is it 1/2 or 1 whole? Okay, parang ganong scenario, no, medyo nakakatawa, pero that's actually also a characteristic of our learners. So talagang very heavy on or very dependent on teacher instruction. Okay? Pag hindi nanggagaling kay teacher instruction, parang very doubtful sila. Okay? And of course, yung textbook dependency nila. Okay? Na kapag wala sa textbook, hindi nila i-accept, no, or minsan kapag yung mga information, no, okay, ay contrary to what's in the textbook, no, they would stop, they would automatically or assume na yung isang information mali na kagad. Okay? Yes, no, napaka-teacher, medyo teacher-centered talaga. Medyo aminin natin, no, talagang medyo guilty pa rin tayo dun sa teacher-centeredness ng classroom natin pre-pandemic. And therefore, then we have teacher-dependent learners, no, as a result to that. Okay? And meron din akong napansin, no, na ang mga students natin very school pace, okay, na learners. Okay, if it's not like dictated by the school, okay, kunyari for example wala na mga activities, no, or mandated by the school, hindi nila gagawin. Okay, or hindi sila mag-engage, they will not inquire into other things. Okay, etc. Okay, and that it's very school paced, no, talagang sinusundan lang nila kung ano yung calendar, yung pacing ng school, etc. Okay, that's very very characteristic, no, of the our learners, no, pre pandemic, no? Okay? And of course, anyan din yung mga limited use of technology for learners, okay? For learning, okay? Ang mga students natin, kahit tech savvy sila, hindi nila alam kung paano gamitin yung kanilang tech savviness, okay, into education, okay? Would you imagine, for example, no, itong mga tech savvy students natin, okay, at one point, no, they don't even, like, for example, know how to share documents in the cloud, okay, or even sometimes, no, yung tamang pag-email, okay, yung mga ganong klase ng ano, no, ng paggamit, kasi yung pala hindi gumagamit at all ng mga emails, okay, yung mga students natin, no, okay, but they're in social media, they're in TikTok, they're in Instagram, they're in Facebook, no, and all other technology based, no, communication systems, okay? Pero pagdating sa technology that can be used in education, sobrang limited ang ating mga estudyante, okay? Unless the teacher now requires, no, or uses it in the classroom, that's the only time, pwede palang gamitin yun sa classroom, okay? Or pwede rin palang pang school 'to, okay? So dun lang nila nare-realize, no, okay, na itong mga technology, ano natin, mga tools natin, na napakadaming technology tools, no, that are also education based, okay? So yan, no, some of the observations natin, no, sa mga learners natin, no, pre-pandemic, no. So yan yung na-encounter natin, that's what um we have been handling, no, for so many years, okay? Um Pre-pandemic, no, and that's also the learners that we actually brought into the pandemic, okay? So ngayon, bago natin pag-usapan ito, itong mga post-pandemic learners natin, kaya bago na sila mas makilala, okay? Let's also look first, no, ano yung mga transformations that actually these students, no, the pre-pandemic learners, okay, were subjected into. Okay, so saan sila ngayon dumaan, okay? Resulting into the post-pandemic learners. Okay, so that's definitely there's definitely transformations, okay, to our students in the post-pandemic era, or expected transformations, no, into the post-pandemic. Okay? So tingnan natin, no, ano nga ba 'tong mga transformations and innovations that we encountered, no? Just a recap, no, alam ko gaano kasakit, gaano kabigat, no, pero totoo, teachers, no, ilang taon na rin tayo sa pandemic, okay? Nag-start tayo, no, 2020, okay? I can still remember, okay, na it was my birthday, January 13, 2020, no. We were celebrating nung pumutok yung Bulkang Taal, okay? At nagkaroon tayo ng ashfall, okay? And sabi namin, no, grabe naman tong opening ng 2020, no. May pasabog kagad ng bulkan, and then we didn't realize, no, na yun pa lang pala ang simula, okay? And then suddenly, no, February and then March, no, we have declared na already lockdown, and then tuloy-tuloy na tayo. And then schools opened still. Although later, no, alam ko nag-open kami that time, no, around July, if I'm not mistaken, no, Sir Alwin, no, July kami nag-open noon. Okay, medyo maaga pa din kami, okay, compared to other schools, okay, while other schools opened in October 2020, okay? At dyan din, by the way, na nag-start ang Kaagapay Teacher Support, no, nag-start kami by June 2020, okay? And then midway, ayan na, nag-settle down na tayo, no, okay, in terms of like systems, okay, our approaches, okay, into the pandemic, no. Mas settled na yung mga students, mas settled na yung mga teachers, no, after 1 year of pandemic school year, okay. And then going to 2022, no, okay. And of course, the biggest question for us now is that as pandemic, no, eases, as lockdown, no, has been reduced, okay, the challenge now is that what's going to happen to our classroom setup, okay? We have like implemented these things, no, throughout, no, for 2 years, okay? So what's going to happen now? Okay, kanina na discuss na ni Sir Alwin, no, yung high flex setup, no, the post pandemic classroom, okay? So that's actually one of the things that definitely, no, is a key transformation of 2022, no, for education, okay? Now, some transformations, okay? So we have definitely the online learning is one of the biggest transformations, okay, of 2020. The modularity, or the production of modules, the learning packets, etc., was also one of the biggest transformations then. Okay? Synchronous and asynchronous. Okay? Yan. Lagi nire-remind ni Sir Jambi, no? It's pronounced as synchronous and asynchronous. Okay? Yan ang tamang pronunciation then. And of course, no, yung heavy use of technology. Okay? is also very, very evident no change in the pandemic. Okay? Because amin natin, no, kahit ako po, okay? For example, no, just mamaya ko na pala i-share, no? Kasi we'll go through it one at a time. Okay? So, unang-una nating transformation in education is that bringing education online. Okay? Lahat nagulat. Okay? Wala namang wala namang nag-celebrate lang agad no like yes, we're going online no and we're bringing online everything online. Okay? Kasi our biggest challenge no napakadami nating mga challenges that we had to face no when we brought on education online. Okay? Are our students prepared? Okay? How good are they to be able to survive online? Okay? Second, or are they even equipped okay with the ability to stay online? Okay? Our teachers, okay? Okay? How trained are our teachers no in terms of like handling online classes? Okay? We haven't done that before. Okay? Yung mga online classes natin are for the most part are very very rare or very few no pre-pandemic. Okay? Kaya wala talaga tayong experience coming in no. Kaya teachers salute. Okay? Napakatibay niyo po teachers. Sabi nga ni Sir Alvin kanina, yung resilience ng mga saka teacher early no, yung resilience ng mga teachers natin is already there even pre-pandemic no. Kaya nung sinabing online, kahit mahirap, ayan, okay? Pero alam din natin, no, na talagang nagkulang, ang daming kulang, no? Kaya, for example, no, our community, Kaagapay Teacher Support, no, is actually one of the many, no, napakadami rin namang mga communities that emerged, no, during the pandemic that actually helped, no, bridge the gap, no, for the preparation, okay? And of course, no, okay, ang talagang biggest question natin when we brought online is that will our internet actually hold and will be able to capable of or of holding classes online? Okay? Napakalaking question yan. Although, throughout the years, no, in fairness naman, to our internet providers, talagang naghabol din sila no, ng capabilities no to deliver faster internet connection. Okay? I still remember no when the pandemic started, we are between kbps no. Hindi pa nga mbps ang speed namin teachers no. At ang pinakamataas naming speed no sa bahay, okay? Internet po to no, wifi, hindi po to mobile data ay 2 Mbps, okay? And again, like ko kinukwento sa mga teachers no is that when we run our first webinar sa mga newbies po natin dito, kung hindi niyo pa naririnig no, when we ran the first webinar here at KTS, we were running it at 1 Mbps. Ganon kami nag-start, okay? So ganun no, those are the questions no. So yes, we can bring it online but can we actually do it, okay? Or are we really capable of doing it, okay? But teachers, okay, congratulations because we did, okay? We did brought no education online and not only hindi lang siya like on the average yung performance talagang mas hinusayan at ginalingan pa ng mga teachers natin. Okay? To deliver content lessons were packaged into modules. Okay, yan. Lumabas din yung mga modules natin. No? Okay, yung pagpuproduce ng mga modules natin. We know that we can't deliver instruction no, in full okay, like we did before. Okay? Prior to the pandemic. So ang ginawa natin, chinunk natin. Okay? So aside from the implementation of the MELCs, no, modularity was also introduced. Okay? Yan nga yung first ever webinar natin, no, yung producing modules using designing MELC compliant modules. Kasi sino po nakakaalala teachers? Taas ang kamay ng mga umattend no ng first session natin, okay? Sa KTS no, designing MELC compliant modules. Okay? So teachers, napakahalaga nito kasi nung to be able to deliver content no, we had to chunk it so that we can print them. Kasi hindi mo naman pwedeng i-print yung lahat ng lessons mo no into one book. Napakahirap po no. And also it will be very hard to deliver these learning packets. Okay? So we had to redesign no our way of designing and planning for our lessons. Okay? Yes, no? Si Sir Alwin. Yes, nanonood ako nung two-part session na yon, Sir Franco. Si Sir Arlene din, nanood din no ng session natin during that time. Okay? And of course no, malamang naalala nyo pa yung bagyo, ulan, panic namin during that time. Okay? Nangyari din of course no yung synchronous and asynchronous bimodality was used. Okay? Ito sobrang laking confusion no nung dumating tong mga words na to introduce sa atin. Okay? Ano nga ba ang synchronous, ano ang asynchronous, what do we mean when we say synchronous, okay? Or ano ibig sabihin natin kapag asynchronous, okay? So basically at ano, to provide support to online learning, teachers also conducted video conferencing to deliver lessons. Okay? So hindi naging enough no na ano mo na lang no, ipadala mo lang yung learning modules, okay? O hindi lang naging enough na ibigay mo lang yung lessons sa ating mga students, okay? The teacher needed to be there, no? Okay? Kaya lang nag-transform lang no siguro yung role ng mga teachers natin. We have our teachers becoming coaches, okay, facilitators, okay, and overall no designers of learning no, okay. So yan yung naging isa sa mga like biggest transformations natin na actually no dadalhin pa rin naman natin yan hanggang sa post-pandemic scenario natin. Kahit for example no Sir Alwin no sa high flex setup natin for example in the post-pandemic or right now no that we are easing into the face-to-face setup, okay? The asynchronous and synchronous modality will still be used. Okay? So wag kakalimutan teachers, no? Lahat na natutunan nyo how to deliver synchronous sessions and how you deliver asynchronous sessions, okay? That will still be used in the post-pandemic. Ginagamit pa rin po namin yan hanggang ngayon, no? Kahit kami, for example, last week, ginagamit pa rin namin yung modality na yan. Even the bi-modality, no? Yung bi-chronous setup, ginagamit po namin yan sa Xavier School. Okay? So yung combination of synchronous and asynchronous or as we call them no or as we call it the bichronous modality. Okay? And of course, eto na teachers, okay? Ito talagang hindi kayo pwedeng mag-no dito, no? Hindi niyo pwedeng i-deny no na talagang there was a exponential increase of technology integration in education. Okay? Teachers, question. Yung walang hiyaan ano, okay? Sino dito yung pre-pandemic, okay? Had is like what ang alam na tools for example or technology tools ay siguro 0 to 5. Sino sa atin yung mga teachers? Ako kasi, yes. Ako yan, okay? First of all, ako yon, okay? Na teacher, pre-pandemic, 0 to 5 tools lang yung na-integrate ko sa classroom ko. For the most part, I was using Google Form, Google Classroom. Before, gumamit na ako before ng Kahoot, no? Tsaka quizzes pre-pandemic, okay? Pero ako yan, okay? Talagang before, yan. Okay, di ba, teachers, di ba? At walang hiyaan, okay, di ba? Pumasok tayo ng pandemic, sobrang konti ng alam natin na technology, okay? Pero ngayon, okay, teachers, sino ang confident na from 0 to 5, meron tayo siguro at the minimum 20 educational technology tools na alam or nagamit sa buong pandemic. Ayan, ako din yan, okay? So from 0 to 5, I can confidently say, I have used, no, I have experimented, I have integrated at least 20 tools now, okay? 'Di ba? PowerPoint lang talaga before, okay? Or sa amin nun, Keynote yung ginagamit namin, 'di ba? So teachers, no, sobrang taas, no. The pandemic, it's actually a progression already, no. It's already a trend, no, towards the pandemic teachers. No? Even before the pandemic, no, trend na talaga yung pagpasok ng technology sa classroom, okay? Or sa education. Pero medyo mabagal, okay? Ang bagal ng transition natin no to technology integration, okay? Pero pumapasok na yan, okay? If you've noticed no, in your mga seminars pre-pandemic or before the pandemic, pinag-uusapan na yung technology integration, use of technology, etc. What the pandemic did was to hasten everything. Pinabilis niya. Talagang pinush niya tayo, pressure tayo na gumamit ng technology for education. Okay? So yan. So teachers na yan. Tama no? Sa KTS, no? Pag pinanood mo yung mga episodes natin, malamang more than 20 pa ang mga tools na na-encounter mo with KTS. Okay? Now, how about innovations? Okay, ano naman 'tong mga innovations na encounter natin during the pandemic, okay? So we have the milk, okay? Teacher communities, teacher brands collaborations, and the learning hubs, okay? Ngayon, teachers, isa-isahin natin, no? For me talaga, teachers, ang biggest innovation natin, okay, is not really related to technology. Ako talaga, for me, which is sobrang iniintay ko at sobrang ine-expect ko sana for our education, is the reduction of or the auditing of content. Okay? Which was done using or through the ano no, that resulted to the MELT. Okay? At yan talaga hinihintay ko. Bakit po natin kailangan yan? At bakit sobrang ganda nitong innovation to, nitong MELT na to, is that it allowed us or the educators, no, Kim, to actually enrich, no, and deepen and make meaning. Kasi dati ang hirap mag-deepening, enrichment. Kasi, for example, kakaturo mo pala nung lesson 1, kailangan mo na kaagad ituro yung lesson 2 kasi meron ng assessment, okay? Or kaya, kailangan mo magturo nitong Unit 1, Unit 2, or Unit 3, at Unit 4, even hanggang Unit 5 in one period, okay? Kasi meron kayong standardized test, no? Or dadating na yung NAT, okay? So, kailangan mo nang tapusin yung lesson mo, okay? So, itong mga ganitong klase ng requirements, no, prevents students from, opportunities for deepening, opportunities for enrichment, and opportunities for making meaning. Okay? But the milk, no, somehow, with the reduction of content, it allowed us that. Okay? Mas konti yung content, so mas maraming nabibigay na activities yung mga teachers. Okay? Mas nai-enrich yung lessons, no? Yung tinatawag nating vertical vertical enrichment, no? Hindi lang tayo padami ng lessons, pero palalim din ng palalim yung mga lessons natin. And that's what we want, no? Gusto natin na mas bukod sa sa mas naalaman nila yung information, mas malalim din yung understanding nila for the lesson, especially the skills, okay? Kasi essentially, teachers, no, we also have to recognize that the 21st century is not just about the content, okay? I've always, no, mentioned about this na pagdating sa technology integration, okay? Technology sa subjects natin sa education, okay? Content now, okay, is also leveled with other skills na kailangan natin tingnan in the 21st century. Kasi essentially, lahat ng content ngayon pwede nang i-search, no, via Google, okay? Googleable na kung sabi nga ng mga students natin, okay? So again, for me talaga, milk is one of the most essential most essential innovations natin in the pandemic, okay? Nandiyan din yung tinatawag nating mga teacher communities, no? Dumami to, no? Yan, survey tayo. Okay. Teachers, no, survey tayo, okay? Gaano kadami ang inyong teacher communities? Ayan, okay? Gaano kadami ang ating teacher communities, okay? Lagay natin sa chat, no? Ang dami niyan, sobra. Yes, no? Number one, definitely Class Point is one of our best, really, very, very active teacher communities. Okay? So, of course, no, kailangan pa rin mamili, no? Yung talagang maging active ka, makikinabang ka, pero talagang sobrang dumami yan. And sobrang helpful din yan, no? Sobrang dami natin kasi that became our support during the pandemic. Okay? We had so many communities, no, na talagang kapag meron tayong question, doon tayo pumupunta. Kapag meron tayong gustong malaman, doon tayo pumupunta. Or the other way around, no, pag bigla na lang may mga dumating na information or webinars or training sessions, no, from those different teacher communities, no, at we survived somehow, okay, the pandemic school years because of these teacher communities, okay? And hopefully, no, wag nating tanggalin yung teachers, no, kasi yung mga teacher communities na yan, okay, becomes part of what we called our professional learning networks, okay? So that now permanently becomes, no, sana maging permanently becomes our part of our professional learning network kasi that will continue to grow, no? Kasi for example, katulad po namin, no, sa Kaagapay, okay? Hindi rin naman kami titigil, okay? Hindi rin kami matitigil, no? We'll continue moving forward, no, with all of you. Okay? That's another one. Okay? And of course, nandiyan din yung mga tatawag nating collaboration, no, with different brands. Okay? So dumating din, no, or nag-flow din, okay, sa Pilipinas, no. And our students also get to experience a more engaged, no, more technology-driven instruction because of this different collaboration. Okay? Teachers, based on my experience, talagang they're now looking at the Philippines, no, as the new market. Okay? Kaya expect nyo, teachers, mas dadami pa, mas dadami yung mga companies, mga brands, mga educational technology tools na pupunta sa Pilipinas because they realize, okay, how much the Filipinos, okay, are so eager to use technology. Okay? Kaya talaga ngayon, all no, napakadami nun, international educational tools, okay, are looking at the Philippines, no, as the new market. Hindi sila nakatingin sa China, hindi sila lang nakatingin sa India, no. The Philippines now is one of our their best markets to conquer. Kaya expect na mas dadami pa, no, aside from ClassPoint, EdPuzzle, and of course, no, our most recent collaborators here at KTS, no, D2L Brightspace. Okay? So dadami pa yan, teachers. And of course, sino makikinabang dito? yung mga students din natin. Kasi when we transform our learning design with technology, ultimately, the experience of our students will also be transformed. Siyempre, yun yung gusto natin at mas hinihingi natin. No? Okay? And of course, teachers, nandyan din yung development, no? Yung paggawa ng mga learning hubs. Okay? Which I really, really love. No? Nakita niyo, for example, yung learning hub na ginagawa ni Miss May, Miss May Baisa Versosa, na yung kanyang Wakelet collection. That's like out of this world kind of collection. Talagang grabe yung ano niya, no, grabe yung ano, yung content, yung designs, okay? And how everything actually is really connected, no? Okay? And if you're a student, okay, and you go to Miss May's collection, no, you would definitely learn even if Miss May is not there, okay? Or the teacher is not there, okay? And that's what we want, no? Itong mga learning hubs na to, okay? Actually is what provides no accessibility to learning experience, no, regardless if it's synchronous or asynchronous. Okay? So napakadaling ano, no, napakadaling i-access ng ating mga learning materials, okay, mga video lessons natin because of these learning hubs, okay? And of course, no, yung sustained support for students, no, kasi dahil meron kang learning, okay, um, meron kang learning hub, no, okay, that the students, no, can go into, no, even your class already ended, kasi minsan yung learning support, no, napuputol kapag nagtatapos yung class natin. Okay, for example, natapos na, nag-dismiss ka na, minsan the support is not as always there. Okay, of course, there are always teachers who are very dedicated, who would always, no, go and beyond their duties, no, to support students, pero minsan talagang hindi kinakaya ng oras. Okay, pero with these learning hubs, okay, after class, the student can easily go there and find more support. Okay, so the student don't feel like pagkatapos ng class nila, wala na silang support, no, from the teacher. Okay, the learning hub becomes that continuity to the student support. Okay, and of course, yung increased student agency and independency, no, with the learning hubs, the student can actually pace themselves. Okay, they actually can own how they want to like consume information. Example, I'm having a hard time with lesson number 1. Can I do like lesson number 2 first? Okay, since hindi naman siya naka-spiral, so okay lang. Okay, the way I access it is can be different. Okay, and of course, no, yung independency, no, the ability to actually engage with your learning lessons, okay, or your lessons, no, without the teacher instruction, okay, without like you being physically there, is such an empowering thing for our students. Okay, and of course, opportunities for personalized learning. Okay, not as personalized maybe kasi syempre, no, ang hirap pa rin sa Pilipinas, okay, mag-personalize ng learning kasi no matter what, and I can't blame our teachers, okay? Kasi no matter how dedicated our teachers, how compassionate our teachers are, if you have like 60, 70 students in your class, ang hirap mag-personalize ng learner, no? Kasi ang dami mong kailangang tingnan, okay? And you have like what? 60 to 70 students per class. So a total of what they're looking at more than 200, 300 students at any given time, okay? At minsan more than pa. Okay? At minsan, iba-iba pang grade level. So, magkaiba pa yung mga preparations mo. Okay? So, things like that. No? So, may limitations. Okay? Pero with this kind, with our learning hubs, no? Okay? There are more opportunities for personalized learning. Okay? So, students can be given differentiated instruction, no? Or differentiated resources in order to make learning more personalized for them or customized for them. Okay? Yes, no, Teacher Diane, no, kulang sa oras ang i-check ang collection ni Miss May, no. So let's now go down, no, to the post-pandemic learners. No, sino itong mga encounters natin? Okay, may encounter natin ng mga learners. Okay, again, this for my perception and this what I have gathered so far, no, from my researches and encounters with some teachers, no, in our community. And if we look at our post-pandemic learners, okay, pagkatapos na, no, pag bumalik na tayo on-site. Hindi talaga post-pandemic, no, pero in the on-site face-to-face na encounters, okay, or setup, okay, ito siguro yung mga learners na may encounter natin, okay, at makakasama natin. Okay, but before we do that, no, kanina na-mention ni Sir Alwin yung hybrid, okay? So, very important to na consideration, no, okay? Kasi ito talaga yung it will transform the classroom, okay, the hybrid modality, no, okay, will transform the classroom. It will also transform how we engage with our students, okay, and therefore the hybrid modality will also impact how the students learn. Okay, so napakahalaga po at napaka-importanting consideration, no. Kanina hindi ko na po ano, no, i-define yung hybrid kasi napag-usapan naman ni Sir Alvin yan. Pero ito lang, no, there are two primary permutations. Napakadami po, by the way, permutations niyan, teachers, no. Okay? Parang bawat school, okay? Parang wala pa akong nakausap na schools, no, na may parehong permutations, okay? Or parehong setup. Okay? Talagang lagi may magkakaibang setup, no, every other school. Okay? Pero primary, dalawang permutations lang talaga yan. Okay? So, yung unang permutation, okay, is that the permutation that Sir Alwin discussed, no, on our school. Okay? Yung pinakita niya kanina, wherein we have simultaneous on-site and online learners. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, meron kang nasa on-site, okay? Kami ngayon nakakap kami at 20 students per ano, no, per class, okay? So meron kaming 20 students at the most, no, at any given time sa isang class, okay? And then meron kaming TV monitor, okay, kung saan naka-flash yung kanilang mga classmates sa Zoom. So simultaneously, I'm on call while also I'm in the classroom. Okay? So ganun yung nangyayari ngayon. Para lang to give you an idea, no, sa ano, sa setup ng classes namin. Okay? So meron din kaming camera setup sa classroom namin, and then a desktop, and then meron kaming microphone, no, for our audio. So that's how our classroom is actually set up in the high-plex setup namin. Okay? Kaya lang, biggest problem natin dito is that um, infrastructure. Na-discuss na nga ni Sir Alwin kanina, no? For you to be able to carry out this kind of setup na meron kang on-site and online at the same time, you need infrastructure. Okay? So ngayon, merong ibang schools, no, ang opt nila is yung shifting schedule of online and on-site students. Okay? So instead of, for example, having simultaneous, no, okay, the teacher will attend, no, classes, no, on a shifting schedule, no. So yung minsan yung mga class students niya naka-on-site, minsan yung students niya naka-online. Okay? So that it does not require, no, a classroom setup equipped, no, with those kinds of equipments, no, to carry out a simultaneous learners. Okay? So, yan lang naman yung ano niyan, primarily two setup niyan or permutations niyan. Pero teachers, okay, sobra ano pa rin yan, very challenging, syempre yung management natin, okay? For this hybrid setup, okay? Okay, yung setup natin for the hybrid, okay? Ngayon, what kind of students are we expecting then? Okay, given that this scenario of hybrid setup, high flex setup, etc. Okay, so ito na ngayon, no? Pag tinatin yung profile ng mga estudyante natin, ito malamang yung may encounter natin. Okay? So I only summarize it to 4. Okay? So 4 lang yung in-identify ko ano, na possibly mga bagong things, no, or mga bagong bagay na ma-observe natin sa mga students natin. The first one, okay? They have a different ways of cognition now. Okay? So ngayon, our students now acquires information, engage with information differently compared to before. Okay? Say for example, okay, laging magiging question dyan, no, for example, no, yung is the information available online? Okay, if so, okay, then can I just read about it? Okay? Or there are more students now, for example, that might want to or mas nasanay, for example, or they realize, okay, that they learn better with audiovisual presentations such as, for example, video recordings. Okay? And makaka-encounter na rin tayo ng mga students that are more tech-savvy students. Okay? So, tech-savvy na sila before, mas malamang mas tech-savvy pa sila ngayon kasi nababad sila, no, for 2 years, no, with technology. At syempre, mga teachers nila, no, mas gumamit at gumamit ng technology. Okay? And of course, hopefully, we have more independent students. Okay? Kung yung mga students natin hindi nag-rely sa kanilang tutors or parents lang to do all their work, we would be expecting a more independent students. Kung hindi nila ginawa yun on their own before during the pandemic, then malamang same lang sila as pre-pandemic. Okay? Kasi kaya nga sabi ko sa mga students, no, embrace nyo yung opportunity to be independent kasi it will actually help you. Okay? It will actually help you a lot. Okay? Okay, emotionally charged, no? Yan, isa rin to sa magiging encounters natin teachers, no? Our students will definitely also coming in emotionally charged, okay? Either they are anxious about the on-site, okay? or the hybrid setup or other things, other concerns, okay? Or nagkaroon ng social awkwardness, okay? Because 2 years silang nasa online, etc. But otherwise, really, we'll be also encountering emotionally charged students, no? Both on the positive spectrum and onto the negative spectrum of emotions. Okay, so expect that, no? May encounter natin yan. Okay? Let me just answer, no, this question from Teacher Eileen Dillon. Teacher Eileen, our protocols, no, for the absent students, okay? Kung yung student absent because of maybe for example nagkaroon siya ng COVID symptoms, okay? Kaya siya nag-absent kasi protocol 'yon. Pwede siya mag-join dun sa online. Okay? Pero kung example, absent siya because of like really sick, no, and can't join even the online, then talagang mark absent po siya. Okay? Yes. Okay. Yes, no, kailangan talaga natin, Teacher Diane, no, to really assess, no, kailangan natin silang mas makilala or else baka magkamali tayo ng design for the hybrid or high flex or the on-site learnings natin. So, teachers, a survey is really going to be very important, no. For us in Saver School, we also did a survey prior to designing our high flex setup. So, lahat ng protocols namin, routines namin for the high flex setup were also driven, were also in a way, no, affected by a data ano no by a survey, okay? So ngayon, given this, all of this, no, ano ngayon yung challenges with the new learners? Okay, with these kinds of learners, okay, that we have, okay, ano yung mga magiging challenges natin, okay, as educators, no? Teachers, ito lang yung disclaimer ko, no, okay? These are all challenges, but I don't necessarily can think, no, ways of answering all of these challenges. Okay, so I'm just going to present them to you, okay? Maybe we could share ideas as well, okay? Collaborate, no, on these challenges, okay? At paano ma-address 'tong mga challenges na 'to, okay? So please do help me out, okay? Because I don't really have all the answers to these challenges, okay? The first challenge, okay, is that learning designs now should now constantly consider online options, okay? So we can't simply just go back there on site, okay? And just do what we did in the pre-pandemic, okay? Kasi magiging problematic yung teachers, okay? Laging magiging considerations ngayon is that baka kaya namang online yan, bakit hindi online? Okay? May for example, may group work. Okay, bakit kailangan on-site yung group work? Hindi ba kaya natin mag-online group work? Things like that, okay? Or for example, meron kang meeting with your students, okay? And you deliver the lesson, tatanungin ng mga students, or hindi na tatanungin directly, pero they will always have that in mind, no? This can be delivered online, okay? Or this can be like assigned asynchronously, okay? So bakit hindi na lang dinesign or inassign asynchronously? So teachers, okay, when we design, when we approach the hybrid hyplex setup and we start designing our instruction, that should be constantly be in our mind, okay? Can this part be delivered online, okay? Or can I package this online, okay? Or are there online resources about this, etc. Okay? So yung online mindset natin should continuously, constantly affect, no, or impact our thinking. Mindset ba? Mindset. Sabi nga nila, no? So dapat naka-online mindset na rin pa rin tayo, no? Even going back on site. Okay? Kasi naka-wire na rin yung mga students natin in a way, no? To that option, okay? Of course, as well, even their cognition, no, okay, will also be affected, no? Kasi meron mga students natin ngayon, no, baka mas sanay na mag-digest ng information in an online setup, okay? So yan, okay? That's the first challenge, teachers, okay? Second, mental and emotional well-being is no longer an afterthought, okay? It must be an integrated well into education, okay? So ngayon, papasok na dyan yung concepts ng SEL, okay, of the social-emotional learning, okay, of check-ins, etc. Napaka-popular na ng check-ins ngayon, no? Okay? So kaya nga lagi, for example, no, yung ating pag-greet teachers, you just don't know, no? Okay? Sa mga sessions natin, hindi ko kinakalimutan unless sobrang tight ng schedule natin. Hindi ko kinakalimutan yung greetings kasi that's sort of like our check-in, okay? Check-in natin yon, okay? Parang emotional check-in natin. Kinukumusta ko kayo by greeting you, teachers, no, or shouting you out, no, okay? And so hindi na siya pwedeng like an afterthought or like an incidental consideration sa education. It must now be something that we also try to address, no, in our instruction, okay? Mental and emotional well-being of our students. But of course, no, kung may mga admins po dito, all this is also true for our teachers. Yung mental health and emotional well-being of our teachers should also be constantly be checked as well. Okay? Challenge number 3. Our students are digital natives and tech savvy, but not digital citizens yet. Yan yung biggest misconception natin. Okay? Okay? Yan yung biggest ano natin ng teachers, no, kay misconception na kapag digital natives or tech savvy, digital citizens na kagad. Hindi po. Okay? Marami sa mga students natin, okay, are maybe tech savvy, maybe digitally natives, okay, but not all of them are digital citizens. Okay? So we have to transform them to become better internet users, okay? And responsible users, teachers for that matter, okay? Yung morality at saka ethics of being an online user, okay? Such an important matter now, okay? Napaka-importante po niyan, okay? Napakarami ko na po mga ano no, mga students, okay, o kaya mga youths na encounter online that are like behaving like really beyond no measured no in a negative way, okay? And we don't want that, okay? So this is what we really want to ano to address as well. Okay? So teachers, okay, dapat ano rin natin 'yan, no? Consideration din natin, challenge natin 'yan sa ating mga teachers po. Okay? And then of course, challenge number 4 natin, sustain student agency in transition to hybrid or full face-to-face. Okay? Teachers, the biggest temptation no, when we go back on site is that the classroom, okay, becomes teacher-centered once again. Okay? Sayang po ang 2 years na pinuhunan natin to shift the classroom into a student-centered classroom. Okay? Kung bigla na lang tayong babalik ulit dun sa ganong classroom no, na teacher-centered. Okay? Now, we have to consider no, that and to bring that student-centeredness, okay, into the hybrid full face-to-face setup. Okay? So wag po natin bigyan na lang i-shift back ulit no dun sa teacher-centered classroom that we had pre-pandemic. Okay? Teachers, let's not forget no, based on a discussion of Father Go before, no, that the teacher in the 21st century, no, which basically reflects no the post-pandemic, okay, is that the teacher becomes the designer of learner, okay, the coach in learning, and the facilitator of learning. Okay, so yun na po ang tatlong role natin. Hindi na po tayo ang performer, okay? Hindi na po tayo ngayon ang source of information lang, okay? Ng ating mga students, okay? Hindi na rin lang po tayo ang evaluator ng kanilang assessments, okay? We now have 3 more important, no, or transformed roles in the classroom. Yes, okay? Yan po yung pinaka-danger natin, no? Yung pinaka ano natin, okay? And teachers, no, that's a big temptation, okay? Kung sa feeling mo, for example, in the first few weeks, no, na-tempt ka to go back to that, medyo normal yun kasi talagang napakalakas ng temptation to just go back. Pero make sure natin labanan natin, okay? So, habang dinidesign pa lang natin yung ating mga instructions, okay, lagi natin kagad na isipin, what are my students doing in this lesson plan, okay? That will continuously shift your classroom into a student-centered classroom, okay? And of course, no, maintaining learning hubs, okay? This one, please do not like let go. Wag natin i-close. Baka naman pag balik natin ng hybrid or face-to-face, deactivated na kagad ng ating mga Wakelet, mga Google Sites, or mga Google Classroom, etc. No? Teachers, please know, okay? You have just created 2 years of like really, really good online resources. Okay? Kung naglagay kayo ng mga YouTube channels, teachers, huwag nyo pong i-close yan. Okay? Keep it there. Okay? Keep using them. Okay? Find new ways, no? Try to redirect, no? Try to redesign, okay? Try to, yung tinatawag nilang retrofitting, okay? Kasi kayang-kaya yan, okay? Kaya pong i-retrofit yan kahit sa hybrid or sa full face-to-face, okay? Huwag nating bitawan yung 2 years worth of all the instructional materials that we have like developed over time. Okay? So, keep them, okay? So again, no, special mention naman kay Miss May. Miss May, keep that weeklet collection, okay? Wag na wag bibitawan, okay? Okay, challenge number 7, develop personalized learning track or support for students, okay? Particularly those that may have lag behind in the pandemic, no? Teachers, I know, please correct me if I'm wrong, no? Ang public school teachers natin, mga DepEd teachers natin, magkakaroon po ng 15-day remediation. Tama po ba ako? 15 days po yun na bridging ng mga students natin. Okay? If I'm not mistaken. Please do correct me if I'm wrong. Okay? Pero alam ko magkakaroon ng bridging program. Okay? Para i-catch yung mga content natin na yan. Okay? Maybe naiwan. No? Tama. Maraming salamat, Sir Alan. No? Okay? Alan Brutas, okay, for that confirmation. Okay? Pero teachers, DepEd, pwede akong pagalitan ni DepEd dito. Okay? Pero sinasabi ko na kagad teachers, no, that's not going to be enough. Hindi kakayanin yun, no, okay? Kahit papaano, no, may mga talagang nag-lag behind, no? Kasi may mga iba talagang hindi, not because the content were too heavy or maybe the instruction were not as effective, pero talagang nagkaroon lang talaga ng mga students, okay, na maybe nahirapang mag-adapt, no, into the online setup, okay? And that 15 days, no, talagang definitely it's going to be like a really, really tight, no, okay? So, aside from the 15-day remediation, okay, sana magkaroon din tayo ng continuous support, no, personalized learning track for students natin, okay, na talagang kailangan pang mag-bridge continuously hanggang maabot nila yung necessary skill or content, okay, na ano natin na um, na encounter nila no during the pandemic school year. Okay? So sana ituloy natin, okay? Wag natin lang na dun lang tayo sa 15 days, okay? Challenge number 8, continue integrating technology, no? Find alternatives to on-site setup or redirect other technologies for other strategies. Teachers, okay? Yun din, no? Wag naman tayo drop everything and leave uh, ang ating mga natutunang technology, no. Ang dami na pong naituro sa inyo, ang dami na pong pinag-aralan, okay? More than 20 tools na or 30 or 50 or maybe 100 tools na yung alam nyo. Wag natin tong bitawan, okay? Hindi lang po ito pang online classes, no, okay? We can easily redirect, no, or find alternative use, okay, to these different technological tools for our students, okay? Yes, no? Tama po, no, Teacher Desiree Dino, no? Okay? So, keep on using them, okay? Kung hindi natin magamit ngayon, maybe park it, no? Or maybe, like, look for some other ways to use it. For example, wala tayong gamit ng video conferencing. For example, okay, kung mag-on-site na yung mga students natin, kunyari, nag-opt na ng full on-site yung school nyo, or mag-shifting schedule na lang ng on-site kasi wala ng online, okay? Then maybe the video conferencing, okay, can become a way to engage your students with other students in other countries, okay? That's a possibility, okay? Or other parts of our country, okay? Or for example, right now, parang wala naman ng gamit yung Google Docs, no? Para saan pa yan? Why not use it for like collaborative note-taking, or kaya patuloy mo pa rin siyang gamitin for group research, okay? Etc. So, pwede pong madala. Yung sinasabi kanina ni Sir Alwin din, no, yung sa technology, no? So, we can still bring those technology into the hybrid, even full face-to-face setup natin. Okay? So, wag naman tayong drop and leave tayo, no? Okay? So, let's continue. Okay? So, teachers, yun lang naman. Yun lang naman, pero 8, no? Yun lang naman yung mga challenges natin, no, as we face this post-pandemic learners. Ito yung mga kailangan nating harapin, no? Kailangan nating pagpatuloy or gawin, no, as we engage, no, our post-pandemic learners. Okay? Ngayon, let me just leave, no, siguro bago tayo pumasok sa ating closure, okay, and of course, our open discussion with Sir Alwin, okay, is that, let me just end with this quote, no, am I sharing with this quote, okay, which is, when we say learning is not actually the product of teaching, okay? Kaya nga siya sabi ni, ni Father Godin, okay, is that you cannot, like, create learning, okay? We can't, no matter what we do, teachers, okay? Sa totoo lang, we can't create learning. we can only design learning to happen. Okay? Kasi the learning is actually something that happens with the students. Okay? So sila talaga no, yung kanilang experience, kay cognition, perception, kay doon nangyayari yung learning. Okay? Kaya nga the learning is the product of the activity of learners. Okay? So kapag yung learners mo walang ginagawa, chances are the learning is not really occurring. Okay, so yan yung challenge sa atin, okay? So how do we make learning happens, okay? By making our students, okay, engage with the learning process, okay? So teachers, okay, let me just invite you, no, to share some ideas, some thoughts, okay, for our session for today, okay, via this Ziplet activity, okay. Please go to ziplet.com.go and then use my PIN 789251. There's a live question right there, okay, that will ask you about how do we support our learners. Okay, so please share your ideas. Sa mga hindi po makaka-access ng Ziplet, okay, can you please just go to, can you just type it in the chat, no? Papakita ko po yung ano natin, okay? Let me just share first the link in the chat, okay, para po mapuntahan natin. Ziplet.com/go. Okay, and then code is 789251. Okay, let me just put it in the chat, okay? And then let me share my my screen, no, for that, okay? Para makita natin kung meron ng mga sumagot, okay? Yan, how do we best support our new learners? Ang question natin, okay? Let me just refresh that, okay, para baka may mga sumagot na or may mga nag-type ng kanilang mga sagot, okay? Okay, wala pa, okay? Let me just, baka lang nagta-type ang mga teachers. Again, kung wala po tayo, no, hindi tayo maka-access sa Ziplet, okay, punta po tayo sa ating um, chat, no? Ilagay lang po natin sa chat, no? So, how do we best? Ayan, meron na, okay? 10 most used words, okay? Continue, F2F, okay, classes, technology, no? Pero ano yung mga sagot ng mga teachers natin, okay? Napakaganda rin pong gamitin ito, no? Okay? Okay. Ano lang, i-refresh ko lang po. Ayan, orientation, okay, ko lang po maano, no? Okay, continue the student-centered approaches and we can still use technology to integrate the new normal in face-to-face classes. Okay? Ayan. And again, no, ito may mga new words na, I mean, mga common words na lumalabas, okay? Orientation, continue, being student-centered, integrating, okay? Ayan na. Okay? Balikan ko lang, refresh lang ulit natin, okay? Ayan, meron na rin creativity, okay? Again, using creativity, no, okay, thinking about outside of the box, okay? Sorry. And to support our learners, okay? Ayan. Kasi maraming salamat. Ayan, meron na rin sa chat, no? From Teacher Pearly Hervias, self-directed learning. Napaka-importante po niyan din, no? Okay? And going the extra mile, okay? Helping ano, no, others as well, okay? Or supporting our students, okay? So napakagandang mga ano po, no, sagot. Maraming salamat, teachers. No? So teachers, let's keep on asking that question to ourselves, no? Okay? How do we best support our new learner, okay? In order to continue, no, or to allow them, no, to survive, no, and be able to be successful, okay, in a hybrid setup. Okay? So yan, teachers, that's it for my sharing, okay? And I think we're now ready now for an open forum. Okay, let's invite back our other speaker, Sir Alwin Reclosado. Sir Alwin, good afternoon. Ayan.
Good afternoon ulit, Sir Franco. Good afternoon ulit, teachers.
And teachers, okay, I think we're now ready for some questions, no, or maybe insights, no, or things that you'd like to also share to our other teachers in our live session for today. And pahabol lang si Teacher Patricia Jane kakilala kay Give Encouragement. Okay? To Teacher Desiree Dino, Design, Coach, Facilitate. Okay? To Teacher Joanne Carabello, give tasks and assignment in manageable, tiny increments, include student interest and experience in lessons while acknowledging their feelings and experiences. Motivate them according to Teacher Juliet, and from A to Z, provide model po. Okay, yan. Napakagandang mga suggestions. Okay? So, Sir Alwin, How about you? Ano ang ano natin, meron ka bang mga may question ka rin ba na medyo gumugulo ngayon sa iyong isipan?
Sa akin lang sir, ano siguro, I would want also to ask teachers na what is the main challenge that you foresee yourself if ever pupunta na tayo sa hybrid lahat?
Ayan, siguro add natin yung question na 'to. What's the challenge you are expecting as you go back 'no, to on-site, teaching, okey? Siguro ang unang challenge na diyan ay presyo ng gas. Sa totoo lang talaga grabe 'no? 'Yan talaga mami-miss mo rin sa online setup natin kasi talagang ang laki pa rin ng siyempre 'no, natipid natin in terms like transportation, et cetera 'no, okey? Ang
Saka ano sa ko,
according to
kasya
Sir
kaya
Ano 'no, may sagot na si Sir, Adrian, okey? Mental health of teachers daw, okey, 'yan, okey. Tayo magiging ano 'yan 'no, magiging concern din 'yan siyempre, yung management 'no, yung, ng mga emotional management ng mga teachers natin, okey? Pero sa totoo lang, Sir Alwin, well, of course 'no, parang tama din talaga yung sinabi ni Teacher Arlene kanina 'no, okey? Talagang I don't know if it's really being a Filipino, talagang we will survive 'no? Kaya at actually nung mag-first day tayo sa Hyplex parang kahit medyo may gulo ng konti or merong may mga ano 'no, confusion, you still like do it, you get in there 'no, you get dirty and, you do it anyway, 'di ba? Yan, ito naman according to Teacher Emil John Nazareno, time management. Naku, ayan na nga, totoo yan. Sir Alwin,
yeah.
ikaw, kumusta naman ang time management mo?
Since yun nga yung first orientation days natin, medyo ah may time na kulang, may time na sobra. So siguro mas yun nga, yung mas pipiliin muna natin yung kailangan talagang ibigay sa mga students. At if yung sa akin siguro more on advice na din na yung wag natin biglayin ang ating mga students, ibibigay natin lalo sa first few days kasi ah mapapagod din tayo teachers, iba parang balik face to face. Yung mga lalo na yung mga kagaya kong naglumaki during the pandemic or naging sexy, yung mga ganon. Yung mga hindi na sanay magsapatos din, masakit po ang paa.
At 'pag pantalon, okey baka nawala na po yung mga pantalon niyo katulad ko. Make sure po may mga pantalon na ulit kayo. Pero sa totoo lang 'no, Sir Alwin 'no, merong mga gano'n yung mga adjustment din. So, 'wag niyong biglayin yung mga students, 'wag niyo rin biglayin yung mga sarili niyo, okey? Parang siguro, um, be forgiving siguro sa mga sarili natin as we ease in back 'no, into the classroom, okey? And of course 'no, this is also like isang panawagan sa mga administrators natin, okey? To really provide that ano, that slow and gradual transition of the teachers 'no, into the on-site, okey? Para ma-sure natin na hindi mase-stress or mabibigla yung mga teachers and students natin, okey? According to teacher ang babaeng boses facilitating the learning, facilitating the teachers, children's learning 'no, ito medyo talagang challenging 'to 'no, Sir Alwin 'no, lalo na sa'tin naka-HyFlex tayo, okey? So meron tayong students doing their work online, some of our students doing their work on-site, okey? So 'yan yung magiging challenge talaga sa'tin ngayon, okey? Even kahit siguro Sir Alvin yung shifting schedule, yung minsan on-site, minsan online, talagang it will take time, for, ano 'no, for, management. Yan, okey. Pumipili lang ako Sir Alvin 'no, medyo madami pa silang ano okey, yan ito Sir Alvin, what do you say about this?
So according to Sir JP, Philippines educational system, especially the public sector, had problems when it comes to modernizing their technology. Question, how easy or difficult would it be for such technology to be implemented? So, actually, kahit saan po siguro, it's not just in the public sector, pero kahit sa private school, mahirap talaga lalo na when we talk about infrastructures. So, two things to consider is that aside from infra, na nabanggit na natin kanina na kailangan talaga nating i-boost, kailangan robust na yung infra natin. we also need to help our teachers na alamin talaga paano gamitin. Especially we have some teachers na yun nga, even if they have used technology already in the previous, pero pagbalik minsan sa classroom, parang it's a new feel, parang bago na naman lahat. So yun, parang nabanggit din kanina ni, may isang comment din nabanggit kanina, training of teachers or retrain teachers. So I it's really difficult, sir. I agree with that. It will never be easy, pero yun nga, yung parang sinabi din ni Sir Franco kanina, let's get dirty. Okay lang tayong mahirapan, okay lang sa atin na um, magkamali as we work on this, pero it is very important to have trial before tayo sumalang talaga at lumarga sa gusto nating kind of modality in the future.
Yes, tama yun. Piloting, okay? Tas collect data, study the data, use the data, Sir Alvin. Kasi minsan, okay, yung data nagiging pang-documentation na lang, okay? So, wag
Yeah.
gamitin ganito. Use the data, really drive your designs, no, okay? According to your data. Gusto ko yung sinabi ni Teacher Joanne Carabello, no, okay? Na hindi lang dapat yung ano natin, no, yung students and teachers yung i-prepare natin, kahit yung mga parents, okay? At ito rin pala, Sir Alwin, no? Sana hindi rin natin putulin yung nabuong homeschool collaboration. Kasi napakaganda niyan, okay? Kasi ginawa natin,
Yes.
nabuo na natin eh. Okay, 'di ba? Na-connect na natin yung school and home, no? As for continuity of learning experience, no? Okay, so wag nang putulin kasi baka naman pagkabalikan sa hybrid or kaya sa face to face, saulian na ng kandila, ano, parang ayawan na, 'di ba? Parang hindi dapat gano'n. Dapat tuloy pa rin tayo teachers 'no, let's push for that homeschool collaboration. So I really agree with Teacher Joanne, okay? Let's keep involving the parents. Okay? Ayan, ito marami pa mga Sir Alvin dito 'no. This one is from Teacher, yes 'no, Teacher Leo Sal, grabe ang adjustment natin sa mga students, okay? Teacher Villaluz Renance, okay? Biggest challenge po diyan aside from adjustment for teacher, students adjustment and motivation. Totoo 'yan, okay?
Yeah.
Yung, parang ayaw nilang pumasok, okey? Parang dati nga ayaw na nilang pumasok, 'di ba parang hirap na hirap na tayong hilahin sila sa ano 'no, sa classroom before, okey? And then nung nag-online, okey? And then ngayon babalik na naman sa on-site 'no. So how do we actually motivate 'no? Sir Alvin, um, 'yan yung that's actually a good kind of pressure for schools. Now schools will really have to go beyond the idea of have to go to school because it's a requirement. Kasi before gano'n 'di ba? Kailangan ko mag-school kasi
Mm.
requirement, okey. Ngayon, schools now 'no, is a little bit more pressured to go beyond that narrative, okey? Na kailangan meron tayong better na sagot dun sa kasi requirement siya, okey? So, lagi dapat tanungin ng school, bakit nga ba papasok si student sa classroom? Or bakit siya babalik ng school, okay? So there must be that something that the students would actually want to go into the school, okay? Either it's like a better curriculum, better learning experiences, etc. So ano may offer natin? Yan, okay? So yan ang ano natin, ang ano natin. At by the way na yun, gusto ko yung ano ni Teacher Arlene. Tuloy pa rin ang GC ko with the parents, okay? Hindi puputulin, okey? Wag iko-close, okey, sayang, okey? Nabuo na, eh, okey? Ayan. Sir Alwin, this one, okey? From Teacher Patricia Jane Kakilala. What about those students who are financially challenged, okey? Kapag na-schedule sila sa online, I notice nahihirapan sila makahanap ng access to online class.
Actually, ito din, medyo mahirap din na sagutin, Sir Franco, especially when it comes to finances. Pero siguro, if there is a flexible modality na nga na ino-offer, na pwede siguro na yung student na yun who's financially challenged and cannot go to online on a regular basis, baka pwedeng maging full on-site na siya. So this is just floating the idea to address the problem nga na pagiging uh, kapag nakaschedule siya sa online, nahihirapan sila na maka-access sa kanilang online class. So yun, if the school will offer yung, since we're talking about flexibility as well, of our modality right now. Baka in the future, pwedeng magkaroon ng option yung mga students na may problem pa rin sa internet hanggang ngayon kasi it's really happening na baka pwedeng mag-on-site na lang palagi yung ating student.
Sir Alwin, no, I think the concern of Teacher Patricia is actually coming from the limitation in the classroom size. So kahit si student, um, ano natin ba, kahit si student, nahirapan siya sa internet, so ang preferred niya is on-site, okay? Hindi siya mapagbigyan dahil sobra na sa classroom, okay? Kaya nga expected, no, in the next few years, Sir Alvin, magkukulang tayo sa classroom because of this, okay? Until we get to really push for a higher classroom size, no? Yung ma-maximize natin yung 40 classroom size natin that we had before, okay? Um, Siguro yun, dun siguro nanggagaling si Teacher Patricia 'no, okey? Yun yung concern na yun. Siguro one thing din na puwedeng gawin, Sir Alwin 'no, since marami naman ang naipon, during the pandemic 'no, baka puwedeng magkaroon ng mga community drive, okey? Tapos, yung mga kunyari hindi ka naman scheduled online, on-site ka naman naka-schedule, baka yung mga ano niyo, yung mga internet ano niyo, yung mga mobile Wi-Fi, packet Wi-Fi niyo or something like that, okey? Can be donated already tapos i-pull lang ng school and then distribute to those that are going to be online, okay? So, baka mga gano'ng klase ng drive 'no, could actually help the community, okay? So yan, Sir Alwin 'no, unfortunately teachers, that's the only time that we have 'no for this, for to entertain your questions, okay? And, but again, thank you so much, keep those, your insights coming 'no, napakaganda ng mga insights, Sir Alwin, ang dami. Grabe yung mga ang lalaman ng mga insights ng mga teachers natin, okay? So teachers, thank you so much 'no for joining us 'no, in today's session, okay? But of course, okay, make we will not end our session without thanking our speaker for today, na Sir Alwin, who delivered sa an amazing, parang expected na kay Sir Alwin yan eh. Sir Alwin Reclasado yan eh. Okay? Yung amazing session ni Sir Alwin. Teachers, let's send our thanks no, to Sir Alwin in the chat, okay? To show our appreciation. Okay? And of course, okay, gusto rin po nating magpakita ng ano no ng appreciation okay by sharing this certificate of appreciation to Sir Alwin. Okay, Sir Alwin, okay, please receive no this certificate of appreciation. This is respectfully awarded to you, Sir Alvin Reclasado, for sharing his knowledge and expertise in the recently concluded webinar entitled Post-Pandemic Classroom and Learners Transformations and Innovations, okay, to be awarded on June 25, 2022. And to be signed by Joseph Angelo M. Santos, Paula May J. Mendoza, Angelo B. Malyari, and Franco Nicolo P. Adun. Okay, maraming salamat, Sir Alwin. Okay, Sir Alwin, bago ka umalis, isang pa-message naman sa mga fans mo at sa mga teachers natin.
Uh, Teachers, maraming salamat po for joining our session today. At ang final message ko na rin siguro is for us to keep on exploring and keep on getting dirty. Yun nga yung lagi kong sinasabi. When we integrate our technology, when we explore new things, when we go into the ground, wag po tayong matakot magkamali. Wag tayong matakot na hindi natin master kapag pumasok na tayo doon. Kasi the best way for us to learn really right now in this situation kapag nagkakamali tayo, and then we master our craft as we progress. Kasi yun nga, this is a new trend na naman na dati na pupuntahan natin, new waters for us to test. So yun lang, magkamali kung magkamali, mag-sorry ka, then tayo ka ulit, gawin mo ulit, retry again. Because as we continue to do all of these things, we go and innovate, we go out there for us to learn so that we'll be able to share more not only to our students but to our community. So maraming salamat po ulit. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
Sir
maraming
Franco.
salamat, Sir Alwin, ano? Okay, so thanks so much. Alam po, Sir Alvin. Okay, so yan, teachers, no, as to end our session, okay, please do evaluate the session at https :/tinyurl.com/js22 part 4, okay? And please do let me know if the link is working so that I can do something about it, okay? Yeah, we'll just wait teachers no for your confirmation for our link no if it's working. Welcome po Teacher Desiree. Teachers, welcome po. Maraming salamat din po. Yan, hinintay ko lang po na ma-confirm yung link our link is working. Before po ako, maraming salamat no. Thank you so much for that Teacher Artemio Coral Audio Jr. Okay, consistency is better than perfection. Thank you KTS. Okay, working po according to Teacher Alan Brutas. No, teachers, thank you so much no, for joining us once again. Okay, you have always been our source of strength. So please continue no, moving forward with us. Okay, and as I always say, no, stay safe. Please stay negative from COVID-19, but please stay positive in life. Okay, paalam po.